Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton, back for day 3. At Prestbury Park, we've got a bit of Punchestown for you, the Morgiana Hurdle. We'll even be popping to Fontwell for the Sussex National. Like the Somme it is down there at the minute. Stamina all the way. Great to have you back. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. That's what it's all about. Facebook Live as well. And if you're getting involved on Twitter, hashtag RP Live. Ooh, the dream team assembled for you on the panel then this Sunday. Let's get straight to it. Paul Kealy joins me back on the show.
How you doing?
You've even put your Sunday best on like me as
well.
well.
I better dress up, but you know what Bruce is like. He always says Kealy always wears a golf shirt, so I thought better
well,
put something on and look
he wasn't going to let you get away with it today because Bruce Millington's back as well. Bruce?
Very smart, kid.
Doesn't it yourself? We've all got it here. We're doing all right, aren't we?
Quite coordinated, really, actually. Yeah, not bad.
How's the
effort,
weekend been, Keels?
Oh, yesterday. What a funny day. I mean, I thought it was absolutely flying. I backed the first 2 winners.
A few 101s after that.
Well, I backed Gamble. 3-1 on, fell at the second last. Obviously, Saint Sonic blew out in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, but I'd had a saver on Spirit of the Games who traded at odds on and
did what he does.
Then I'd backed Mrs. Milner, who traded at 1.12. And then What's Up With You, who traded at 1.15.
That was the one that got away, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, I think you were a bit negative on the jockey more than I was. I just felt that Paddy Brennan thought he always had him in his pocket.
Fire behind him,
and he actually won him easily. I was surprised he got done that short. And then I backed Ishikawa Lady, and I would say I got robbed in the last, but when they went past the post, I saw that it was 3,300, and I thought I wasn't sure who'd won, so I laid a bit of it. Yes. When I saw the freeze frame, I thought to myself, I've just given a few quid back, so I couldn't believe it. So.
And we've managed to pull you off the sofa. Because this week has all been about a Masters for
I've spent 2 days non-stop, like a limpet. The only movement has been to pick up the remote control and flick between the golf and the racing. It's been absolutely fantastic.
This has been a different lockdown for lots of reasons, but having elite sport has made it obviously more than bearable for a lot of people. And
we've had a massive result today, haven't we? Because we came in and we were going, I can't believe it. Their golf was off early today, so we're going to miss it. There's been a fog delay, so we'll get an extra hour.
Absolutely, more fog delays, quite right. And you can hear laughing in the background there. The big hitter himself is back. He was with us on Friday. Barry all the way from Dublin.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hope we're all well.
Yeah, I tell you now, you've got a little bit of a spring in your step, Barry, haven't you? Because they are letting you out next Saturday, aren't you? It's your big day at Haydock. Are you coming over?
I certainly am, yeah. Can't wait. It'll be my first race meeting since the 12th of March last year, Thursday the 12th of March. But I'm springing my step because I'm feeling good today. Usually around this time every year, I'm a little bit hungover after 2 hard nights in Cheltenham, but obviously none of us could be there. So fresh as a daisy this morning and looking forward to a great day's race. And we've already seen a couple of superstars potentially in Pencil Full of Lead in Punchestown and the big breakaway in Cheltenham. So RSA picture hotting up already.
Yes, yeah, let's have a quick chat about that because usually when we're waiting to come on in the studio, there's loads of banter going around, warming ourselves up, but we were very concentrated on the screen watching the 150, weren't we, the big breakaway, who could genuinely be a superstar. You weren't taken by him.
I was disappointed. I thought he spent a lot of time in the air. I thought he put a lot of effort into jumping his fences and he gave him a lot of air at certain times, and then he had that flat spot as well where he looked like he wasn't going well at all. I don't know, maybe it's a Cheltenham thing, but it didn't have me thinking, I wonder what price he is for the RSA, I must admit.
Barry will be keeping us updated for any anti-post movers. If you've seen the Cheltenham Festival winner so far as this weekend, let us know. We'll give you a shout out. Bruce, what did you make of him?
I thought it was really good, but it was really, really interesting what happened. Just as they started going down the back straight, the jockey's sitting really, really low and kind of rocking backwards and forwards, and you're thinking, hang on a sec, these are official distress signals. But it didn't last long, and he's got back. And I agree with Kills, the jumping wasn't perfect, but in a sense, that kind of points towards a lot of rawness, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that, you know, there's something to work on. He's only very young. He's very, very exciting. I mean, you know, I don't think you could write him off there, but there were a couple of little things that happened during the race and you thought, well, hang on a sec, I'm not completely sold on this, but there's some engine there.
That's fairly controversial. I agree. There was some questions there. What price did the sportsbook go for the RSA, Barry?
Come to 16 from 20 off the back. And I was really impressed with it. I think for any horse to win first time up around Cheltenham over fences, what did they jump 19 fences over 3 miles?
That's it.
I thought it was a great performance. And like the lad said, they can only build on it. His horses haven't just been firing, although they're beginning to pick up now, Tizzards. But if I owned them, I'd be very, very happy with that for a 5-year-old.
They're coming back in some style now, the Tizzards, after a slow beginning to the season. They got the favourite Christmas in April, of course, in the Sussex National. Let's get some social comments underway. Who's going to open the show? Dave Winder, good to have you, Dave. The big breakaway, impressive. Yeah, and there's a lot of. We do something called Race Day Live at the Racing Post. It's Dave Randall's doing that today. You'll see that on the front page of the website. Lots of you sending emails for Dave to answer. I'm seeing loads of impressive and bullish ones about the big breakaway as well. Yeah, interesting, Dave. Stephen Hughes, no lucky 15 today. Stephen, you'll remember, if you're watching the show, nearly had a lucky 15 on the show. It's a massive prize. You had one yesterday that went down as well. Today it's hard to find value. Is today hard to find value, Keels?
Well, it's hard to find big priced horses in races with small fields, haven't we? We've got a lot of non-runners because of the ground. But I wouldn't say it's hard. I wouldn't say it's desperately hard to find value.
Soft, heavy now on the hurdles course.
Yeah. I mean, it looked quite testing on the chase course. They finished fairly slowly there. A lot of them, a couple of them dropped right out, didn't they, in that first chase? So yeah, it's going to be hard work. They're going to go slow.
We've got a 3 mile 3 handicap coming up to open the show.
Well, yeah. I mean, but they're all your natural plodders, aren't they? So Ramsey's Detay, Discovery has been placed in the National Hunt Chase. Yeah. So they're all going to get the trip.
We've got Desi Scarhill back in the studio with us today. No Racing Post, Bruce.
Couldn't find
one on the way in. Are you wobbled by that?
Well, I am a little bit. I'll have to use the website for the colours, but I'm just so.
You've got your specs. You have.
Got my specs.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're in good hands.
On most of them, you'll get them on a page today, though, won't you? The Greatwood might be a bit harder.
Oh, it'll be all right. There's not that many runners as this, so we'll be.
You gonna have a stab at one again today, Keels?
I might do.
Training Keels up as a commentator.
I might do, but I wouldn't be able to do it without any bias. I just whatever I've backed, that's it. It tends to be the horse.
Last time he did one halfway through the race, he forgot he was doing it. I had to jump in. I think I couldn't believe it. But Barry, you'll be giving us your opinions all the way. Shall we kick off then for the 150? We're around about 12 minutes away from the off if they're punctual. Let's get the market up in screen. You can tell us what's been hot and what's not.
Yeah, I thought this was a cracking race to kick off with. I really did. The one I like in it is Captain Drake, Harry Fry's horse. Brian Carver, he's very good value for his £5 claim. Second in the Midlands National, which is a nice bit of form you'd like to read ahead of a race like this. He warmed up for this with a win again in Uttoxeter and Handicap Pearl off 137. He'd no cheap pieces on. He's rated 142 now. I think there's more to come off that mark. He's currently 6 on the exchange. Your favourite said Disco Ramado, 3.35. Been to the last 3 festivals. I think he's a bit, it's hard to say. I think there's just a bit of a kink in the horse. He's traded a 5s on last day when he got done in Galway, and he's had a habit of trading at odds on and getting chinned. The one novice hurdle race he did win, he traded at 1,000 in running that day. So that'll give you some indication of his ability in that he doesn't always go through with his effort. I think he's opposable, especially at the price. But I think Captain Drake will be a prominent racer along with Ramesses Detay. He was well fancied for the Albert Bartlett last year. He did disappoint. He had put in a couple of decent performances on heavy ground. He'll be there or thereabouts again today. But Captain Drake, I think he'll be prominent. I think he'll track Ramesses Detay if he goes off and tries to make it. And I can't see him out of the first 3. He's 5-4 on 1.80 on the Betfair Exchange. I'm going to ask Bruce, my glamorous assistant today, to have 50 quid on Ramesses Detay. The interesting thing here, there was 9 runners. There's 3 non-runners, so there's only 6 runners now. But the Betfair Exchange, the place market still pays 3 places, regardless of number of non-runners. So he's about 184, is he,
199 is Ramesses.
Oh, lovely. Even better,
so we'll
yes.
50 quid each.
We'll have 50
quid on that. Okay.
We'll have 50 quid on that. I can't see him out of the first 3. I think he's the one that, if there's any sort of improvement, it'll be eked out of him off 142. I think Brian Carver's good value as well. So just hunt him around. And
Ramesses Detay.
Places.
I thought you said
Captain Drake.
Oh, sorry, Captain Drake.
You remember what happened?
We've had a disaster
this has happened
to
before
start
on the
with.
show. This has happened before on the show and it won. So look,
oh, sorry.
there are omens now.
Hang on a sec, wait.
Anyone that's backed Captain Drake out there, they're all like, "Oh no, the Roosters absolutely nobbled us."
Hang on, I'll get.
Keels.
I'll get.
Keels, give him a loan to your bins, will you, please?
No, I'll get us out of this. Don't worry. Right.
I said it was the dream team today. We've had.
Yeah, I was dreaming.
Daydream.
No, I was just thinking,
the daydream team.
When you said about Ramesses Detay being well fancied for the Albert Bartlett, it was only by Paul Kealy. I was thinking about how I can rinse him for that.
Oh, he's coming back at you.
Oh, yeah,
Hang on
no,
a
I
sec.
backed him.
So I need to lay this
all
in,
over
don't
the
I?
place for that.
I've backed Ramesses at Hang on a sec, we could be all right here.
I tell you, just have 50 quid on Captain Drake, and we'll for the injured jockeys fund, we'll throw in the Ramesses.
No, I can get us out. I can get us out on Ramesses. I can make a profit.
I'm a big believer in a bloomer for a reason. So
Absolutely.
leave it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
Sod's Law, the biggest thing in our
injured
game.
jockeys fund. What could go wrong?
Top man.
Fair enough.
Top man. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 50 on Ramesses at 199, and we've got Captain Drake at 191, and he's only 184. So I think I'm trying to dig myself out of this, but
he's back with a
Feel
bang.
good there. It's maybe off for luck, Bruce.
Exactly. Quite right. So all of a sudden we've got 2 on side. Bruce.
Sorry, I'm smarting from that blunder.
Knowing that you are trading, who is your likely idea of the winner in this?
My idea of the winner here is the old Big River. I love him. He's a massive price here. I mean, you'll remember him thundering up the Cheltenham Hill on background to be placed in the Ultima twice.
Yeah.
He fell in this last year behind West Approach, but his record first time out is actually pretty good, and I think he's going to be fine here. 3 miles 3 on this sort of ground. He's probably an in-play bet actually, because he could get completely tailed off. But I think he's going to come thundering through, and I think Big River is a massive price.
The narratives at this meeting always fall pat, don't they? And of course, one for Arthur, recently retired. Derek Fox, Lucinda Russell, the old firm back on him. So the rag of the field for Bruce. Keels.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Barry. I think Captain Drake.
Which one?
Yeah. I think Captain Drake is the one horse who could blow the race away. Just simply because he's the least exposed of the lot over staying trips. I mean, obviously second in the Midlands National last year. One minor issue with him would be that it can be a bit of a chancey jumper. I mean, any horse that can unseat at Exeter has to be a chancey jumper, and he did that. He ploughed through the last when he was second in the Midlands National. But otherwise, he jumped.
Well,
he's won one there as well. Yeah. But interesting thing about him, he was back over hurdles for Harry Five first time out, and he ran. He won, and he put up his best performance by a stone over hurdles. And if that's a sign that he's improved, then he could be very, very well handicapped here.
Yeah,
so I like
ticked him as well, I must say. So that's 3 ticks.
Well, the funny thing about this is you look at these horses and you think, Discorama, Ramsey's to tie, and you're just surprised by how young they are.
Yeah, 8-year-old
Discorama is 7. He's been placed in 2 chases at the Cheltenham Festival.
It's hard to knock his Cheltenham form. Barry says he's got a kink in him there, and maybe he has.
He's got a tough race. He's a bit of
a
a professional loser, isn't he?
He's got a lot of 2s and 3s next to his name.
He's got a lot of 2s. He's got 7 2s and 2 1s.
It was just a price thing with him. It's hard to see him not having a say in the finish.
He'll be there or thereabouts. But whether he'll deign to put his head in front is another matter. Funny thing is, funny enough, trained by Paul Nolan, who trained Mrs. Milner, who was second yesterday.
Yeah.
Mrs. Milner's second made it 4 out of the last 9 runners Paul Nolan has run at Cheltenham, finished second.
You've been doing your homework on this, mate.
3 of them at the festival, so he's knocking on the door. It's been incredibly unlucky.
We gave you a shout, all the viewers will know who were watching yesterday, because Keith Melrose, who was on, he said that Paul Kealy told me that Henderson hasn't had a November winner since 2017. And of course, typically, 2 races later, the horse that was the last winner on the blind side came out and got the job done.
Yes. That was always the thing with Hendo, wasn't it? He's a December trainer.
And
we latched onto that years ago. Do you remember, Gilles? James Pyman did a piece, didn't he? And
his strike rate at this meeting isn't particularly good.
Yeah, okay.
But
it was naught from whatever.
Just happened to do me yesterday.
Did he?
It's just so typical, isn't it?
It was, Nico de Boinville was having a great season. We are alive in the jump season. Let us know you're out there. We're cooking with gas already here on this Super Sunday.
Didn't you think West Approach was a bit big now?
Yes.
Him and Discorama seemed to sort of swap places yesterday.
I seem sure he'd be nearly favourite.
He's another hound, though, isn't he, really?
It wasn't.
It all depends on what he...
I think we did his last run to get a kills, and you said that then, and yes, he can be a bit funny, but he was on his best behaviour, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's not always on his best behaviour, is he? I mean, funny enough, he got absolutely smashed up in the market, and they got it right last year when he won this, because he won it easy.
Some people will be looking and saying there's no Frodon,
I mean, look, I'm pretty sure when you look at it that none of these would have gone head to head with Frodon and done any better. Like, you could easily make a case that he's a cracking price at 5 to 1. You could do. He's not a horse I've ever warmed to be honest. And I don't particularly trust him.
Harry Cobden taking the right now with Robbie Power linking up with Paul Nolan again. Interesting race then, isn't it? Captain Drake, you go back to that. He is a bit of he didn't jump the hurdles particularly well at
No, he's not.
He
can be a bit clumsy. It's heart and mouth time, if you're backing him over fences. But I think in terms of ability and potential, he's the one to beat. For
And
me.
Brian Carver showed his skills on Friday aboard
Yeah.
Magic Saint.
Yeah, he's very handy. He's very well worth £5.
You've got to be if you're at Nichols, I suppose, in that yard. Yeah, okay.
So you
Barry,
don't last long if you're not.
let's have a look at the market after we've spoken. Let's see how it's shaping up.
Yeah, just at the moment, Disco Rama's 9 to 4, 3.25 on the Betfair Exchange, 5.7 Captain Drake, which is just 9 to 2, 6.0 both West Approach and Ramesses the tie. So that's 5 to 1 each of two. 13 to 2 Yala Enki. That's not without a chance. Would need a career best over fences in terms of what the rating of that one. But we'll go on the ground. Bryony Frost in the plate there in 14 Big River. But Disco Ram is strong at the head of the market. It has to be said.
Let's give Yala Enki a mention. Another likely pace angler. I just wasn't sure if he's a Cheltenham horse. Really, I looked at his record. It's not that inspiring.
Hey, he's looked like he's been going well there at times. Like he's looked like he's travelled well in the race, but he hasn't done as well.
I reckon I'd go well to
as
4.
you'd have thought. Like yeah, I know. You know what I mean? I mean, he was 6 to Q-Star Civilo at the festival, wasn't he? And he was 7th in a Gold Cup, which is probably as good as he is. You know, so
You'd be surprised if he's better than all the other 5 here.
And
Wouldn't
will he be?
he's been around a
warming
long
up for the
while.
Welsh national.
Possibly.
It's
He's had
quite
a
possible.
couple of goes
I
in
mean,
that.
he's he's gone close in the Welsh national, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it'll take a near career best for him to win this. I'd have thought.
This Big River's got to a mad price now, 16. That's crazy.
Have you been with it when it's won or something, Bruce? Because you obviously are
I
a
love
bit of
the
a fan
horse.
of the horse.
He's one of those ones where at the Cheltenham Festival, when they're giving extra places, I was on him 2 years ago when he got placed in the Ultima, and then again last year. He just comes scuttling through at the end. He's a little bit like that horse in the Paddy Power yesterday. Who's the thing that Rocker?
Couto Rico.
Couto Rico.
Oh,
you know?
Corto Relco, yeah.
And a lot of people put that one up actually.
Flying at the end,
He came
wasn't
flying through.
he? Keith said it was a red herring and he was going past knackered horses and all that.
I
sort of
think
stuff.
I think that is the thing. You can get horses like this, and Big River's probably one of those ones. He's kind of ridden way off the pace. He gets himself tailed off. On tour used to be a bit like that as well. On tour,
that's the horse we were trying to
on
remember
tour
yesterday. Good shout.
basically on tour does a Big
Evan
River,
Williams.
but then now has forgotten to do the running on at the end bit as well.
Yeah.
So that's not very
On
useful. But
tour. He's had quite a few horses like Evan Williams.
yeah,
Over the years.
and it might be with Big River that he actually needs that kind of furious end-to-end gallop to be able to actually give that lethal finishing kick at the finish. But I've got the faith here. Like I say, his record first time out is decent, and he's waited on form with West Approach to actually beat him. So I've got every confidence in him.
Let's get some more social comments in. Great to have you out there along the ride. What a team we've got for you. Get your questions in for them, of course, Bruce, Paul and Barry. And Mark Smith, ground seems to be in Ramsey's favour, so he'll do for me. He was 4th in this race last year, Kills, wasn't he?
Yeah, well beaten 4th though. I mean, I had a look at him. He's got that one win at Cheltenham over hurdles, but it was a race that he had a massive edge in terms of class. He was a short price favourite, and he hasn't actually run that well at Cheltenham otherwise.
No, his
So
chase forms
that
is contrasting to his hurdles.
exactly. Well, and like I said, the hurdles race came. I mean, he beat the Butcher's Shed, and he had loads in hand on the figures. So I wouldn't, I'd say he's one of a negative for me. He would be, and let's say the ground is, Captain Drake was second, and it was heavy ground in the Midlands Grand National. There were
Pipes
loads of
could do
horses.
with a winner, couldn't they?
They all handed it. Well, I thought Pipe was going to have a great
You did?
weekend, and yes, he could definitely do with a
What
winner.
went wrong after that first fav, didn't it? Capage was a bit of an eye catch yesterday. Let's get some more up. Thanks you, Mark. Who's coming up on the screen now? Jack Toohill, Discorama. He's got a big legion of fans because he's always there or thereabouts. You can't back him each way today, though, of course. And who have we got coming up? Thanks, Jack. David Kerwin. Discorama wins. Lots of love for Discorama out there. Is that borne out in the final market check, Barry Orr?
Yeah, it is. He's into 15 to 8 now, 290, and it's 6 to 1, or it's 5 to 1 Captain Drake and 6 each of two. Then West Approach and Ramesses today, 7-0 flat them Yalanki 13 to 2. He's very, very strong, Discorama.
He's very, very short, isn't he? Whoa.
It
He
was
can
short.
certainly win, but 2.8.
Yeah. This is Captain Drake's sort of acid test to see where he's. This is his toughest test yet, Kills, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. But I mean, I think he is handicapped to win, and I just like the fact that he returned with a massive career best over hurdles. It's very much a sign that he's still on the up. He's only 7. He's much more lightly raced than most of these.
And there'd be a bit of justice in this maybe for the Fry yard, wouldn't there, after that? It was amazing here yesterday, guys. We were just literally getting ready to sign off, and we thought we'd called the winner,
With the Ishkawa lady.
Yeah, Matt Chapman was on course, went up to him the microphone, Sean Bowen, didn't we? And we had to go, hang on a minute, it's a dead heat. That was incredible, wasn't it? I mean, what did you make of that out there? Let us know, social comments, because Bruce will give a talk on that, and Kills and Barry will as well. How can we change that, improve that? Was it good enough? I don't know.
We'll have a chat after the race, because there's a couple of issues that I think that are quite important.
Okay.
That we need to look at.
Yeah, timing-wise more than anything. Timing-wise...
Almost off here, though.
Nearly off for the first. Good luck wherever you're going. Welcome along. Loads of racing, loads of action for you. Real-time analysis. We'll have a crack along the way. We always do. Lots of fun. We're dictated to by the racing. Bruce is going to call this off. So I shall hand over. Just about right timing, I think.
Right, you two. You're both pace judges. Who's
It
going
looks
to...
like Yellow. It looks like Yellow Enki's going to make it.
He only got one way of running.
Who's going to be in front when they pass the winning line first
It
time?
looks like Yellow Enki, doesn't it? Yeah.
Captain Drake's up there.
Bryony Frost,
Drake
yeah.
is a prominent
Bryony
racer.
Frost
He was
has
up there all
decided
the
they're
way,
off and running. They're heading up the home straight for the first of 3 times. 3 miles, 3 furlongs. And Yala Enki pops the first in front from Captain Drake. And then the grey Ramesses Detay. On the far side, Big River. He's got 2 behind him. I thought he'd be tailed at this stage. Those 2 are Discorama. And at the moment, happy to sit out the back is West Approach. What was that?
Give it time.
Give it time.
The river will flow.
Any early market moves, Barry?
No, Yala Enki, the only one from 7.6 into 6.6, but you expect that the way he's gone off in front.
What's going on? Big River's 29. This is ridiculous. He's doing what... I mean, he's not going
You
to
think
tail
he's going
off,
with
and
more
doubled in
enthusiasm
price.
than normal?
Can you commentate for a sec, Kills?
Well,
I'm just going to have a bit
Yellow
more.
Enki jumps
Brave.
jumps the third in front, just having Captain Drake. Ramsey's a tie on the outside. Discorama running a bit keen in the green.
I'll tell you, doesn't look that keen, Kills. Is Western.
West Approach, yes. He's
doing his usual, is he?
He does tend to sit out the back, but yeah, he doesn't look particularly happy.
I don't get this. I do not get why Big River is suddenly 32.
What price is West Approach now, Barry?
Go on.
West Approach is 5.3 now. Big River's 36.
I'd have him double that.
Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Get on the Big Riv. Okay, they jumped the first one down the back and they're all over that nicely. Yala Enki from Captain Drake. On the outside, Ramses Detay from Discorama, from Big River. From West Approach, Cobden seems comfy enough in 6 as Discorama just suddenly injects a bit of pace as they go down the far side and runs into second place and might even be challenging for the lead after this. They've all jumped that perfectly well. And yes, indeed, Robbie Power, yesterday a beautiful waiting ride in the first on Dufflecoat. Different tactics today. He wants to kick on Discorama and Barry that as that little move has been reflected in the betting, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's into 13th eight. It's what he did in the big breakaway as well before the water jumped in the novice chase. They weren't going fast enough for him and he took it up. He's given up the battle with him and let him. Yeah, he's given him his head and he's let him go on.
What about Captain Drake, Barry? He looks like he's gone out a bit to me. He's lost a place or 2.
Yeah, 7.4, but I wouldn't read too much into that at this stage.
Scruffy jump out the
Crucially, money for Big River into 22.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Listening.
I'm not surprised. Still too big. There's a scruffy jump down the back there by West Approach. Hasn't really been reflected in his price. And they're doing this thing again. Kills, you had a little view on this bit last time, didn't you?
I don't really understand.
You've got a couple staying on the inside, Yala Enki and Big River, and the rest have all gone wide. You don't think wide's the place,
Yeah, I don't really think wide's the place to be on a chase course. You've got to remember, they want to be wide on the hurdles course because the inside of the hurdles course is where the worst ground is. And, the outside of the chase course sort of meets the inside of the hurdles course, doesn't it? So I would rather be on the inner. I mean, if you take that first chase into consideration, okay, the big breakaway was in a class of his own, but Doc Penfro was the one that raced on the inside and he beat everything else out of sight.
He's going really wide on Discorama, isn't he?
I wouldn't be too happy with Captain Drake here, lads. He's the only runner in the fields that's not been around Cheltenham before, and to my eyes, it's slightly showing.
13.5, Dave, so the market agrees with you. Just moving up on the outside West Approach. So they're coming to the fence at the top of the hill. Yala Enki is a couple of lengths in front of Discorama. On the outside, has been jumping very nicely. Ramses Detay. It's Captain Drake in 4th, it's Big River in 5th, and out the back is West Approach, whose jumping has not been brilliant. Mostly they've been jumping really well.
Yeah,
but
I would say Captain Drake put in the best jump at that fence and just came back on it again. I mean, you've got to remember, these are 3.5 mile chasers. They all tend to hit flat spots.
He wears pieces as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he probably needs to be woken up every now and again, doesn't he?
Fair enough. Okay, so we've got a lap and a bit to go. They've pretty much run a circuit and it's still Bryony Frost in front on Yala Enki, but it's not a frenetic pace by any means, obviously on heavy ground. They know what they need to do here and that is not burn up too much energy. But Robbie Power,
think West Approach is beat.
You think West Approach is
after
beat?
2 fences.
You can't say that.
I'd be happy with the Yala Enki if I backed him.
Yeah.
He's got into a lovely rhythm.
Yeah.
Really? Ramses is going all right, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah,
Did anything win from off the pace over fences yesterday? It was every front runner,
sure.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit, very much from. Well, I mean, obviously Gamble would have won.
Yeah,
Fair point.
He was making the pace, wasn't he?
Default.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So,
Okay, heading out on the final circuit then, and this battle for supremacy between Discorama and Jarla Enki goes on. It's neck and neck between the two. Just being sort of scrubbed on a little bit is Captain Drake in third. Ramsey's going well in, that's got third now. West Approach is coming up on the outside to challenge Captain Drake for fourth place. And still nicely in touch is Big River. Don't worry about him as Jarla Enki kicks on again down the far side.
Good jump, Big River,
poor
though.
jump out the back by West Approach. Jarla Enki absolutely pinged that though. Ramsey's is going really, really nicely. Discorama's getting short, Barry.
Yeah, he's into 2-2-4 now, so 5-4 chance Discorama. But Captain Drake, your big drifter again, out to 20. West Approach again hasn't jumped the fence properly. Yalagenki 11-2, and Ramesses Dete is the nearest pursuer now in the market at Discorama at 7-2.
I think I'll be with Jarla Enki here now, boys. He's absolutely winging every single one.
The River.
I'm getting into Big River. I'm getting
What's
into
wrong
Big
with the
River.
Big River?
You're being sold on the river?
Yeah,
I'm being
sold down the river
yeah.
probably.
He's all right.
Jarla Enki, as they reach the ditch, is on the inside and jumps just in front of Discorama, with Ramesses Dete still going well. Big River's taking the rails
inside
route
route,
on the
which I
inside.
like.
Drake's gone,
The one
hasn't
that
he?
can't win is
Drake's gone,
Captain
yeah.
Drake. That is
Drake is
completely
gone.
gone. West Approach is going up on the outside. Big River's just getting a little bit detached now, but he's still near enough, isn't he?
Cutting
He's
every
okay.
corner, Jarla
He
Enki.
is,
isn't
right.
he?
Okay, Jarla Enki, the ditch at the top of the hill.
Ramsey's hit it.
Ramsey's hit it. Discorama's with that in second, going all right. Big River in fourth. West Approach. And then it is Captain Drake, who is definitely not going to win this race. So they're at the top of the, I think this is 4 out, isn't it? It's Jarla Enki from Ramsey's. Discorama just coming off the pace now a little bit and out to 4.4. West Approach is in fourth. Big River is stalking them. He's quite close, the old Riv. I'm getting excited.
This is exciting,
But
I think.
Ramsey's now, he puts his foot down on the lovely grey Tom Scudamore. And as they approach 3 out, Ramsey's injects some pace into the race and has gone odds on. Would you be backing him at odds on, Keels?
I wouldn't be betting anything at us on this.
Discorama whack that,
but
boys.
He does look to be going better than most.
I think
now,
the winner's
doesn't
in
he?
front, isn't it?
Right, we've got 2 to jump here. Ramesses Dete on the outside of Jarla Enki, who will not go away. West Approach plodding along on the inside in third. But Discorama looks in a bit of trouble, but he's still only 9. And Big River is not that far off. But they're turning in now. Jarla Enki's yellow colours, been in front or near
I
the
think she's
front
given this
all
an
the way.
absolute
2 to
peach.
jump. Jarla Enki with Ramesses Dete breathing down his neck. They take the second last together. West Approach is in third. In fourth, it's Big River. Ramesses Dete just asserting between the final 2. And as they come to the last, Ramesses Dete pings it. Jarla Enki will not go away though. Bryony Frost up that hill. It's as if she's back on Frodon. He's coming there. Can he
neck and
get
neck.
him? Can he get him? Ramesses
Ramsey's,
Dete's got
I think,
this
isn't
by
it?
a half
Oh,
a
he's
length.
coming,
But
coming.
he's coming back on Jarla Enki. Bryony Frost
Right.
will not accept defeat. It's
my
another
Lord.
absolute thriller.
Ramsey's
But Ramsey's
just wins
just
it.
gets it. It's a huge distance back to the third. They're still running. It's going to be
it's gonna
Big
be
River.
Big
I've
River.
backed him 3 places. Oh, good old Big River. You've run well there. But that was another thriller. Seen so many close finishes this weekend.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I wonder if it's Guy Lewis doing the photo.
And the mistake bet copped.
yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you.
Save the
Barry,
losing. Save the losing bet.
You were right. His blooper.
I prefer to be looking and educated, and that's what the man said.
Quite right. Sodslaw, the biggest thing in this game. Well, did you get on the blooper? There was a lot of love for Ramsey's out there on our socials. Happy days. It looks like he has just done it.
106. Now, we learnt a lesson last night. Dave,
Well,
didn't we? Not
indeed.
to be
The
too
one thing that I would
confident
say about the runner-up, if you were on Jarla Enki, they all looked reluctant to fire themselves into home straight. I wonder if that's because they're worried about the ground or whatever. But
109.
But
109 in the photo, 11-1 on Ramesses in the photo, so it's not a done deal. I'm surprised Bruce didn't say, "Oh, that's tight."
No, I'm too cocky, Barry. I always
free
try
money,
and
that's
call them.
cool.
we'll leave it to the judge. Yeah, no.
Free money, that's cool.
No, they've called it.
They've called it.
Ramsey's
Ramsey's.
wins
Called
it.
it now, yeah.
Yeah, well, Jarla Enki has run an absolute stormer, hasn't he? He jumped beautifully. I know sometimes people get a bit carried away with the Bryony thing, but she does present a horse beautifully
Brilliant.
offensive.
She's
doesn't
really
she?
good. That was a great ride, that wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen him run that well around Cheltenham before, and it will be all guns blazing now for the Welsh National.
Yeah, it's
I
funny,
would
the
imagine.
2 horses where you thought that haven't run Cheltenham that well, and they fought out the finish and,
Yeah,
and
I mean-
thrashed 2 horses that have been round there and run really well several times.
Yeah, tell us about the story of the market, Barry.
No real story other than Yala Enki traded at 2s on after jumping the last, I suppose, 1.50 for a little over 100 quid. That's the only real story. It was so up and down. Disco Rama traded at around 6-4 in running 2.56. I think that got the low off. But yeah, the winner's done it well. The winner's a worthy winner, really, isn't he? He's a horse that showed plenty of promise last year. I didn't know whether they were going to stay chasing with him. They ended up going Albert Bartlett route and it didn't pay off. I'm sure they'll stay chasing with him this time around.
Yeah, a winner for Team Pipe, we should say, Kills as well.
Yeah, he's had the winner. He's not the one I expected or wanted, but he's had the winner. It just shows the horses are going well. He had a couple of disappointments in the first 2 days, but yeah, this is a meeting the Pipes have always done well at, and as I said, his David Pipe's strike rate at this particular meeting is almost as good as any other of the top trainers.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, they've
bit of relief there.
They've come so far clear of the rest, those two. They
Yeah.
really, really have. I mean, that's a distance back to the third.
Tom was just nudging him, wasn't he? Never quite went for the stick. He's showing real finesse there, and a sigh of release for Tom Scudamore as well, who's just because he was cross-country winner he had as well, didn't he? So that's a double for Tom as well. So that was thrills, and thankfully no spills in that race. Captain Drake went a stinker, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's hard to explain, isn't it? Maybe it's just a Cheltenham thing, but
looked
you know
like
he
he
actually
fancied
jumped quite well.
But
But
Discorama, what's gone on there?
well, that was very strange, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was
very
very
cool.
strange.
That I think
He
as
nearly
well.
didn't settle early. Sure, he didn't Disco Rama.
Yeah.
And I'd say there's something wrong with Captain Drake. I'd say he might have burst or there's something wrong with his wind by the look, but that's just too bad to be true, that run.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out the analysis, of course, post-race. You'll get all the reasons, the debriefs, of course. Shall we move on? We've got the sluggers out the way, the 3 mile 3. Will we see 2 horses coming clear in the Morgiana? Let's go to Punchestown then. It's coming up next, of course. 2:10 at Punchestown. One of the favourite hurdles of the entire jump season. Willie Mullins going for a remarkable 10th straight win in the race, Bruce Millington.
That's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. Can you name his... I think he's won it with 6 other horses in the last 9 years.
1,000 Stars.
Yeah.
I looked earlier. 1,000 Stars.
Hurricane Fly.
Hurricane Fly won 3.
Yeah. Sharjah.
Nichols Canyon.
Nichols Canyon. Forheen.
Ooh, Forheen.
What was the thing that won last year? The
Saldier.
Saldio. That's
Soldier, indeed. And he's up against the horse of Gordon Elliott's, who was just chinned in the Supreme, beaten, of course, in the WKD hurdle on his return in Abacadabras. This is not a race you associate with Gordon Elliott, in total contrast. I don't know how much you read into it. He's had 2 runners, Gordon Elliott, in the last 10 years. One was well turned over and one was
He hasn't really had
a faller.
a champion hurdle horse, has he?
Not really.
And he might have now. And obviously he needs to improve from that.
Yeah.
From that return at Down Royal, but I think we discussed it the other day that Gordon Elliott. People go on about how he has so many winners at Down Royal, but he tends to win all the novice races with long odds on shots, and his best horses, it's used as a prep run.
Yeah.
And Delta Work has now been beaten twice in a row, thrashed twice in a row in the champion chase. There, didn't stop him last year going on to win 2 Grade 1s at Leopardstown. And I'm assuming that Abacadabras needed it as well. He came there swinging on the bit, didn't he?
He did.
And then
the only thing that makes me think he might not have needed is that Elliott said that he was a bit disappointed with the run.
I was
think normally,
disappointed with
if they know they needed it, they'll
well, I
be
think
like,
they
don't worry, he
expected. I
needed
think
the
they
run,
probably
and
expected him to be better than the 4-year-old anyway.
yeah, okay.
So
I wasn't too down on that run personally.
No,
I thought it was all right.
I wasn't.
Spire Tail's a decent
I
enough
wasn't.
horse, isn't it?
Let's have a look at the market and we'll get into it then, the nitty-gritty. We'll see where Barry's going to play. Into Jockey's Fund, absolutely flying, dancing around after the Ramsey to Taye bleeper. That will make the seasonal finale.
I look
that's
at
for
that
sure.
one easily. We've just seen the
It
photo.
was
from the
actually
previous race.
more than a flared nostril, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get the market out then, Bruce, if you don't mind, because
we've got
I've
that.
got a feeling that this Saint-Roi is on the drift.
Yeah, out to evens now. San Ra was 1.80, 4 to 5. Abracadabras, the money has been for really was 3.1 earlier on, is into 2.75 now, which is 7 to 4. And it's 12 to 1 bar. Has been money for Jason the Militant, that has to be said. It was 16 to 1 on the exchange, into 12 now, Super Sunday and Course of Blind, 20 and 33 respectively. But yeah, I'm not sure about Abracadabras, about what he did in Down Royal. He was well fancied that day. He traded at 7 to 1 on. He's obviously fitness was a concern because they had Apple's J beating that race as well. And he doesn't really have them fully tuned up for the double KD. But I'd just be willing to take a chance. What I'm going to do, I'm going to back him at 2.75, Bruce.
Okay.
And I'm going to put in to take the stake back at around evens money, because he could trade short in running and
So
he
this
could
is
there.
abracadabras, yeah, just to be sure.
What we're going to
after
do is
last
we're going to
time.
have 50 quid on, yeah.
Okay, 50 quid at
Abracadabras,
274.
we'll take that price there, and then we want to lay it
Yeah.
at evens. So just click on the lay
2
and
for
bring it
50.
down to 2-0 for 50, yeah, and press keep bet.
Okay. And don't, as we always
So
say
we're
on
gonna-
the show, with the keep bet, if you don't do that, then it'll get
cancels
cancelled
just as the
soon
race
they're
goes
off.
in
So
play.
if you want to
Yeah.
put an in-running play up, you must hit that keep bet. It's one of the most
I
annoying
just-
things in the world when you forget to do it.
I just think with Abracadabras, this is going to inform my opinion on him for the rest of the season, because I think he dogged it just a little in Down Royal. I know that the fitness concerns were there, but if he did dog it, he could trade short here and get beat as well. And don't forget, as a 4-year-old in a bumper up in Leopardstown, he ran out through the rail for no obvious reason up the straight. Now Envoy Allen won the race,
Yes.
but I think there is something there in the horse.
That was him, wasn't it? Of course.
Yeah, I just like to see the gun being put to his head here. I'd love to see him go through it. He's second favourite or third favourite for the Champion Earl at the moment, along with San Roy. It's 7 each of 2 on the Betfair Sportsbook. Epipan heads that market, obviously.
He was beaten on his previous start here, wasn't he, in a bumper as well by Cool Reevy, if you remember. A horse that he would probably be somewhere ahead. Anyway, okay, let's go down the panel.
I would say, well, look, they're both stalkers basically who want a strong run race and come through and show a turn of foot. That's what Abracadabras did, in that Supreme, and only just got chinned. St. Warren in the County Hurdle. So they're both going to be sitting behind. Who's going to press the button first? Is there a dangerous? Getting an easy lead up front. We're not talking about mugs.
Could it be Super Sunday?
Well, I've just had a couple of quid on Super Sunday, and I backed him at 5-1 to hit the first 2, which I thought was a reasonable price. He's had a run. He's got cheek pieces on the first time. That tells me that they might say, right, we'll go out and beat a hare. We might get a lead.
Catch me if you can.
Good old horse, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought Jason Millington would make it.
Okay.
It's quite,
he took
possible.
He took a lead, didn't he, at Down Raw last time, I think. But yeah, that's interesting. First time.
I thought him and Course Sublime would probably go off in front and try to make it. The other two would stalk them. Yeah, I couldn't see Super Sunday trying to make it here.
Yeah, tactics will be really.
Yeah, it was just the fact that they've put pieces on him for the first time that they might say, right, let's get on with it. It would be interesting to see what they do.
Can I be the first one to just point out here that San Roy is a terrible price?
Well, I like him, but the price, I was surprised he was 4-6 when I saw it pushed up.
I can't believe it. I know he's not 4-6 now, so I suppose all the thinking that we've had since this morning slightly changes because he's a shade of odds against on the machine. But I still think it's a huge amount of expectation and built into the price. He's won a county hurdle of 10-13. Yes, he looked like he'd only just joined in. That was really good. But, there's not a huge amount of form in the book here. This is a step up. Abracadabra's beaten ahead by Shishkin in the Supreme. That's rock solid form.
Yeah, I looked at the form of the county hurdle. He beat Aramon, didn't he, the stablemate, who's come out and won his next 2 since, including the Galway hurdle. And like you say,
he's only a 5-year-old as well.
It's just so easy, and it's Mullins. That's the thing. It's Mullins, and my worry about Abracadabras, we can actually see in the corner of our eyes at the finish here of the Down Raw race. I wasn't sure about his head carriage, and I wondered he had a blow. Does he want a bit further now as well? I think didn't quicken.
I wouldn't have thought he wanted further.
The other worry that I've got about him is he drifted like a barge going into the Supreme because they were worried about the ground. They've always thought
I was going to say I would be far more worried about the ground because I don't, they're pretty adamant that he doesn't want it that deep, and this is a lot softer than it would have been.
He just didn't quicken, Kills. That's the thing.
No.
The ground should have been all right at Down Raw.
Yeah, it should have been okay there. It might have been a fitness issue, but I do, they did say they were worried about the ground at Cheltenham, and this will be a lot deeper. It was really sticky yesterday.
Yeah,
it was really. They were finishing really, really slowly.
I've seen a couple of the opening races there, and it is on the soft side.
Yeah, the times were 30, 40 seconds outside standard, etc. yesterday.
What a fascinating matchup we've got.
It is a fascinating matchup, and it's not necessarily a 2-horse race.
Yeah, well, we know all about the characters in here, don't we? Of course, Jason and Millington's slightly newer on the scene, but Course Sublime has been called quite a few names over time.
Yeah, but he goes well fresh as well, and he's a strong traveller. So
second in a Supreme, only just got touched off in a Triumph, didn't he?
Yeah,
and ran okay.
I'm going to have a couple of quid on him as well.
Hurdle, didn't he? I think.
You could be right, Kales. It looks like Paddy Kennedy's keen to be up there
you were
with
right
Super
then.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Almost off then. If you haven't had your bets, San Roy is 2.06, Abracadabra is 2.07, 12.5 Jason the Militant, 26 Super Sunday, 32 Curse Sublime. A fascinating Morgiana Hurdle. Can Mullins do it for a 10th time in 10 years? If he does, it will make San Roy... he'd have to do something pretty special to displace Epatante as favourite. He's second favourite right now, isn't he, for the championship?
Yes, he is, yeah.
Really interesting.
Fingers on the buzzers then.
Okay, they're off and running, and making it is Jason the Militant. Super Sunday got a good old early shake of the reins, which would suggest that they do indeed want him up there. And it looks like the two of those have established a 5-length supremacy over San Roy, who is being stalked on his inner by Abracadabras, and then Curse Sublime and Keith Donoghue happy to watch from the rear as they approach the first hurdle, and Jason the Militant picks it up. Any market moves, Barry?
Interesting. The market had already factored in maybe that Jason the Militant and Super Sunday were going to be up there, so their prices haven't really changed. But San Roy just came in a fraction into a shade of odds on at 1.94. I suppose they want to see a real good gallop for him and that it's a true run race. I suppose the same could be said for Abracadabras, but San Roy just a little mover at the moment.
Dave, you're the professional analyst here. Are they going just a good solid clip? They're not dawdling on them.
No, they're not
going nuts, are they?
You would say it would be a fair test, but in front, you can understand now why they're putting the brake on Jason Millington. But he's been a little bit lit up, the favourite, if anything.
Yeah, he's a bit keen. He's a bit keen. Yeah, I don't think they're going. I don't think they go really slowly, but they're certainly not setting a hectic gallop at all, I would have said.
It's huge, isn't it, Punchestown? It's 2 miles.
Yeah.
It's only just over a lap.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever been there, it's hard to see down the back straight. It's just so massive, isn't it? It's the most vast
I'd also
race
say if you haven't been there, go.
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic
Absolutely
place to go racing,
superb.
especially
It
that
really is.
spring.
Next
spring
year we'll
festival.
get a chance, boys, won't we?
I hope so.
I've been the previous 3 now. The previous 3 spring festivals. It was absolutely brilliant. Apart from the Friday when all the kids come in and it's absolutely rammed.
Yeah. Right, they're heading down. It's a sort of great big square shape, basically, isn't it? So they're going along the sort of top edge of the square, and it's Jason the Militant being pestered on his inner by Super Sunday. As you say, Kills, taking a keen hold in third is San Roy, and then Abracadabras is in fourth, and in fifth we've got Curse Sublime, but there's nothing really in it. I think we've avoided calling them Abracadabras all the way through. So the big test is in the commentary. Let's see if we can do that.
You don't need a paper after all, look.
No, I don't. It's only 5 runners, isn't there? We're all right here. And we've got some iconic silks. Change of leadership. Super Sunday takes it up as they go down the far side from Jason the Militant. Keeping a very close eye on them in third is San Roy. Abracadabras is going nicely in fourth, and they're virtually joint favourites, Barry.
Yeah, they are, but just San Roy still just shading it. He is taking a very keen hold, it has to be said. He's 2.30, 2.6 Abracadabras. Super Sunday into 10 to 1 now.
The one thing that I'm noticing from the ride so far in Abracadabras is the once further thing is probably not on their agenda. I think they're definitely riding in for a turn of foot.
Yeah. I think they've always thought he was a 2-man. The talk was not just the soft ground, but whether he'd get up the hill. At Cheltenham, because they think he's a bang.
He was lukewarm in previews and that.
Yeah.
Right, they're just. I think they've done the back straight now. They're just going to turn out of there. I think they've probably got 3 to go. 5. That looked like the 5 furlong pole, and there is literally only 3 lengths between them. They're very, very. What'd you say, Kills?
He's still tugging.
He's a classy operator, you know.
Yeah, but this will surely affect him.
He is a very classy operator.
He's been hanging on to him all the way.
Abracadabra's not great there.
Who wasn't?
Abracadabras.
Yeah, they've all jumped pretty well, really, Dave, haven't they? There hasn't been too much in the way.
He's going strongly, though. He's looking for a run now, isn't he?
3 out as Abracadabras is pulled out, just looking for a run. Super Sunday's struggling in front, as far as I can see, still just about in front. Jason, the Militant, might take top front spot.
Mark Walsh is not well placed here.
And Curse Sublime on the outside.
Super Sunday gone.
And I'll tell you what, San Roy's got some traffic problems, and the jockey started to waggle his arms now as if he's under it. Abracadabras looks like he's poised to take over from Jason the Militant at any minute. But I tell you what, Curse Sublime is very
short.
This is a boil over.
This is a boil over.
It's a win. I don't know. I don't think the favourite's done yet.
Abracadabras just about.
Oh, he's slow, San Roy.
San Roy's trying to get on terms.
No, he's beat.
Abracadabras, though, as they go down to the last. Abracadabras as they head up
Jason.
towards the line. Abracadabras, is he? Oh, blimey, it's getting closer.
really
Jason's come up.
is.
So here comes Sam. Whoa! He just
Wow.
about got over the line.
Just got over the line.
That was mad, wasn't it?
Watch.
Yeah,
That was
Wasn't his finest hour, was
no,
it?
he got badly positioned from 3 out to 2 out, didn't he, Barry? And the
Yeah, when
market
they
must have
quickened
reacted.
Abracadabras kept him in, and also the other horse kept him in, Course Sublime.
Yeah, I've got a feeling the best horse
when the
probably
race
was beaten
developed.
there.
Barry, I would love to see. I mean, Super Sunday won't have traded short, but the other 4 all will have traded short there, including Curse Sublime, who, as they've come to the last, is a virtually odds on.
I was just saying 1.69.
What's happened to him?
Yeah. Course Sublime
Fallen in the
169,
hole.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
San Roy traded at a low 169.
What a
I'm
dramatic...
not sure that was in running now, mind.
No, that would have been
Abracadabras a
pre,
high of
wouldn't
6.8.
it? And what about Jason?
Jason the Militant, I think, was high of 3-1 or a low of 3-1.
He's a
Wow.
nice horse, and I think they will be going up in trip in it with him now, Barry, because they found their level. At the, you know, if you're getting outpaced in a Morgiana, there's only one way to go, I think, really. But yeah, I think you called it there. What do you think?
You know
out
what?
there? Let us know,
think
because
that
has Mark Walsh
The
got
winner
this
doesn't
beaten?
find the winner doesn't seem to find a whole lot. Sure, he doesn't.
No, he's got
He's only
one.
felt-
He's got one chance to hit the front, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants quicker ground and a strong run race.
But let's be positive about him. You guys were on him. You fancied him, and he's rid of the of that down royal.
I thought he was the most likely winner, but I mean, I actually backed Super Sunday because that's the sort of punter I am. I like the bigger prices, but
You'd love to see him in I don't know.
yeah,
What's the race for
I
him?
thought he was
then,
the most likely
Kits?
winner, and I think well, he's obviously going to go for the Irish.
He's in the
champion early,
Betfair fighting fifth.
isn't he? See that would suit him. That track would suit him.
Yeah, fighting fifth,
Newcastle.
is that
Well,
right?
Is that
and
Saturday
Kempton would
week,
suit
that,
him.
isn't it? Yeah.
Kempton would suit him
2 weeks,
very
I
well.
think, isn't it?
I think
No, Saturday week. Yeah, it's the Ladbrokes Trophy, isn't it? Of course, yeah, that weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so it's only 2 weeks away. So whether they want to go there, but I mean the Christmas hurdle at Kempton, that'd suit him as well.
Yeah. So, and a word for Sanois. Getting back on the hills surely only going to suit him in a stronger pace.
Yeah,
isn't it?
don't give up on him. I mean, he the rider got himself in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
And the horse hasn't done him any favours, to be fair. He's trying to get him settled. He's trying to bury him to stop him tugging, and he wouldn't. So
He wasn't great 3 out there.
but-
It's just lost him a length.
No,
I think.
exactly.
And turning in,
that's
he's
it.
got hopelessly
Turning in,
hemmed in,
he's in
isn't he?
he's in a terrible position.
All these great horses
But-
like Hurricane Fly might have got out of it, but
But he's stuck his head down and run on. He's still inexperienced. Remember, I mean, it was only his fourth run.
if you
or
watch
third
the
run.
last as well, he was a
when he
tad
won the
slow
Council.
there. I think coming to the last, it looked like Abracadabras would win well.
Well, I don't know. Curse Sublime was
Yeah,
absolutely
I thought Curse
cruising.
Sublime was going to come and win it. Yeah.
Is this the first time he's done this?
The next-
Sublime?
Well, he's an ex Gordon Elliott as well, Course Sublime, and he wouldn't be in the same field as Abracadabras at home. So
It was his first run
You
of the
know-
season, of course. We should say that, and fully entitled to need it. And the chassis still remains with an engine under it, doesn't it? No doubt. But I would quite like Jason the Militant going up in trip. I think there's plenty of opportunities for him. Irish champion, you've called it absolutely right. Think they'll meet again there? Can't see Baton going over.
I definitely see him meeting again. Obviously, Irish champion. I would be tempted to go to Kempton with
With who?
Abracadabras.
Abracadabra.
Well, I thought about that because the ground might be in his favour
Yeah,
there.
it's possible the ground will be in his favour, but a nice sharp 2 mile.
He's a quick enough for that,
as
isn't
well.
he?
It sort of
Sharp 2
feels like
mile
he'll be able
and-
to time
and-
his
and-
run.
with Abracadabras kills.
Yeah, I'd be tempted.
No,
to.
no way.
He's wandered
No
a
way.
bit after the last, hasn't he?
Elliott has one thing on his mind here in Ireland this year, and it's to win the title. He'll have very few runners in the UK ahead of the major
fair
festivals.
Enough, fair enough.
Yeah, he just wants to win prize money at home. If he can win prize money at home,
You don't
he'll
really
stay at home.
associate Kempton with Gigginstown either
No.
too much, do you? It's not a meeting that they've really thrown loads of arrows at, because, of course, Leopardstown at Christmas, primarily. Barry, the anti-post market for the champion hurdle, has Epatante shortened up on that, or is there any lengthened out? Or?
Unchanged off the back of that. It's probably an unsatisfactory race from an anti-post point of view. And Abracadabras, that's in the Betfair fighting fifth in a couple of weeks' time in Newcastle, is unchanged at 7-1 for that. Epatant heads that market at 11-8 on.
Yeah, we're having a couple of socials. A lot of people are asking about that, so hopefully that's answered your questions. Keep your socials coming in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook Live as well. Hello, Dave Orton here, Paul Kealy, Bruce Millington and Barry Orr. A Sunday treat for you. You only get it here on Racing Post Live. And it's been great to have you all weekend. The narratives have been out there. The jump season totally in full swing. We're going to be back with you pretty much every Saturday now until New Year. I think just the 12th and 13th of December we're having a bit of a breather. But we're going to be here. So join us all the way. Should we go back to Cheltenham because something called the Schlur Chase is about to run?
Yeah, a very good race. when the declarations were made. It's been weakened a little bit by Rouge Vif and Forest Bihan coming out because of the ground. You can't really blame them for that. I did say earlier in the week I was wondering whether they'd run him, and obviously it's got very, very soft, so Rouge Vif is out, but it is still...
Yeah, you did call that.
You know, it's still, I mean, let's face it. I mean, if Defi Desoy hadn't run in the champion chase, he'd probably be odds on, and he's got very short now. You've got to remember, he was 2-5 to win a champion chase, and here he is at 6-5 to win a race against horses, none of whom were in the champion chase. So, you know, you can certainly understand why he's favourite. He's got something to... it's a question to answer now, isn't it? Because that was a real tame effort and no apparent reason for it.
Yeah, it looked like Put the Kettle On was going to be the market leader going into this, but she's just drifted out slightly, Barry, hasn't she? Let's get the market up and you can tell us what's hot.
Yeah, she's 2-1. Definitely Desoy 218, 2.2 at the moment now. Actually, had been as big as 2.40 even with the non-runners. So there has been money for the favourite. Put the Kettle On is 3.15 now. Riders on the Storm 6.8 and 10.5. Duke de Geneva having his first run for Paul Nichols. I'm just going to take on Defi Desoy. I'm going to take him on because I think a big difference to this horse is no Barry Geraghty on him. No disrespect to Richard Johnson either. Very capable jockey, but I think Barry Geraghty was a big part of the Defi Desoy story. I know he's a 2-miler that stays 2.5 miles, which ticks a lot of boxes in this race. Won it last year and won it impressively. He just had that change of gears. But it took Geraghty to know him that well to ride him, that he could ride him for that change of pace just between the last two. I think Riders on the Storm is not without a chance, and I think Put the Kettle On is not without a chance. And I wouldn't be surprised if Duke de Geneva was to run well here also. So for me, I'm going to place lay Defi Desoy, and I'm place laying him because I'm getting them nice and short as well. It's obviously 2 places on the Betfair Exchange here, and I think he's somewhere in the region of around 5-2 on the leg. So I'm happy to do that.
1.43, Barry. What should we do?
Yeah, let's take 100 quid out of it. Take 100 quid out of it.
Because we won on the last race as well, didn't we? With your Abracadabra's back to lay, that was good.
Lovely.
Yeah, I think we won 87 quid. Yeah, so we're playing with their money now, as they say, Bruce. So we're happy to take 100 quid at the backer stake to lose 43 quid. And I just think if he wins, fair enough. But I don't think I think if he beat now the first two, if he's not in with a good chance of winning the race, I don't think he's going to get knocked around.
I just want to clarify that, because if you saw the screen there and you saw that there's only 4 runners and you're thinking, well, how come there's 2 places? With the Betfair market, it's unlike the bookmakers. If you get non-runners, it stays as it was. So we're still 2 places here. So we need Defi Desoy 3rd or 4th to win there. And it's quite nice that, because if you've had a bet and all of a sudden the normal traditional place terms change because of a non-runner, yours don't. You might be a bit of rule 4. But anyway, that's where we are with that. So, yeah, we're in good shape. Put the Kettle On's popular. What I've been talking about the race.
So we'll take the floor because this is your horse, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, I did a preview last year and Aidan Coleman was on the panel. I said, I think you're going to win the Arkle, you know, with Put the Kettle On. And he gave me this look as if to say, what are you on about? And he did, and she's really, really good. And I think she might still be a little bit underrated. She won this she won on this card last year. I think she's really decent. I like her. Defi at his best is going to win, but I'm not sure he'll be at his best. So I'm happy to go against Defi. I really like Put the Kettle On. All the judges this morning, including this man, were on Riders on the Storm. Drifted like mad, Kealy.
Yeah, that's drifted like mad. Yeah, I keep having a little top up because I think he's only drifting because there's so much strength behind the front 2 in the market.
It's a lot of love for him, isn't there, out there?
Well, you know, in my view, he's as talented at 2.5 as these 2 are at 2, and we've just got to see whether he is capable at 2 as well. I think
really?
He's a very,
you think
very good,
he's as talented over 2 mile 4 as Defi is at 2?
I think he's a very, very good horse. Remember, he won a Grade 1 by 14 lengths last year.
He's only rated £7 off him.
He's rated £7 off him. I think he's a very, very talented horse. Whether he's fit, we don't know because it's his first run of the season, but that's the same for all of them. And obviously he fell here in the Ryanair. It's a bit of a worry, but
2 jumps around Cheltenham with Fs, haven't there?
Yeah.
There's a story with him as well, Kills, of course, because there was an administrative error, which meant he didn't run in the Paddy Power last year. Do you remember?
Of course, yes. He was going to be
We're almost off, by the way, Dave, and we don't know you fancy.
I am with Defi simply because I haven't been with Put on the Kettle yet. That's why, and I wasn't sure about Riders on the Storm, to be honest. I wanted to be with Rouge Vif at the 48-hour decks. Obviously, he's not there.
Yellow flag raised, yellow flag dropped. They're off for the Schlur Chase. The 4 runners head towards the first fence, and Put the Kettle On and Aidan Coleman are the early Pace setter Duke Genevieve very keen in second and might just jump up alongside.
Woo.
Oh my goodness me! What happened to
Lord.
Deffy there? Deffy's basically sort of landed and bounced Richard Johnson up in the air.
What happened to him
and
in the market
that's
there?
meant that there's a flip-flop on the market, Barry.
Yeah, he's 2.92 now, Deffy, so nearly a 2-1 chance. 6-4 put the kettle on, and Riders in the Storms into 13-2.
Do you know what? I don't think this is going to be the worst thing for him. What he wanted, Richard Johnson, was for 3 to take each other on. And what's happening?
Well, I don't think they're
take
going that
each other
far.
on.
They're
just
taking
running,
each other
aren't
on.
I don't know.
they? Just racing.
Are you surprised
Taking each other on?
that Sam Tristan-Davis is taking on put the kettle on?
Well, I would. He's not really taking him on. I mean, the
Taking
horse
them on, they're just riding.
horse is
aren't they?
racing well within himself.
know.
He's up front.
Punching each other. All riding.
He's always had a bit of pace, Riders on the Storm, you know.
They're not having a dust up. I love it. Well,
Duke
yes, of
Geneva
course.
was a bit keen.
Duke Geneva's the one. Duke Geneva can race, kid. You got to
We've
remember.
got the last 2 Arkle winners in here, of course. He did win an Arkle, didn't he?
He won an Arkle. He won an Arkle because they went massively fast and he just tugged and tugged his way.
And Kalashnikov fell, didn't he?
It completely fell apart, that race, didn't it? So, yeah, he's a bit too keen.
He's all right now, though. I think he's settled just fine. The market likes him.
I'd be very happy with
6.4.
Deffy, I think. Here. If you remember, he made his chasing
Very
debut at
happy
this
after
meeting
that.
2 years ago. He could hardly jump.
Deffy's the one I'd be least happy with the start. If you
know.
backed any of the others, I think you're entitled to still be happy.
He's back to where he was at the start, 2.1 though, so people have forgotten his early little trampoline session.
What about
They've
put
got
the
a
kettle
chance.
on this surface? Because obviously it's been sounder surface, isn't it, where I associate her with? We will find out. Here, but I wouldn't be. I don't know. I'd be lukewarm on her. I think.
Surprised that she's not making it, but maybe he doesn't want to go that fast. But I do think Duke Geneva is in danger of running away at the moment.
I think if you were to try and lead this keen-going Duke de Geneva, you probably would run yourself into the ground. So.
Well, I mean, this is, for a horse with stamina, I'm quite happy with the one and second. Sorry.
It's a real fast pace now, isn't it? Duke
Yes,
de
it's
Geneva is
become-
really
it's
going.
become a
So
test.
Harry Cobden went really fast in the bumper yesterday. And
Oh,
paid
he
the
did.
price. I don't know if that will be the case
On
here.
you can have her.
But basically, Duke de Geneve is 5 clear of in second Riders on the Storm, and Deffy and Put the Kettle on are vying for third place. Put the Kettle on is very unpopular now, 5.3.
very
I'm not
wide.
quite sure I'm seeing why that is. I mean, can you see
Riders
that,
on the
Kils?
Storm made to 16.
Do you get that?
Well, I don't understand.
Oh, that was Deffy taking. That was Duke de Geneva taking a chance there. Deffy's now warming up. He's cut the corner on the inside. How many Nichols also have we seen up front jumping really, really well? That was his first mistake.
Yeah.
Will he get home?
I think Riders is feeling a pinch now. You can definitely see that.
Yeah, he's 30 now, Riders. But again, he's not tailed off. He's only 5 lengths off it. And if we think that the leader's going to come back to him, he's 2 lengths behind.
Yeah, but he's under pressure to
he's
even
under
try to
pressure,
keep his
yeah.
position.
What price is
This
Deffy
is-
now, Barry?
This is 3 out.
Deffy's
now,
into 2.48, 6-4 chance, Deffy.
This
The
is-
one in front's into 5-2. Duke de Geneva.
Never mind
first
that,
time.
2.2, Barry, as they jump 3 out. Because,
Yes,
Put the
he
Kettle
wasn't
on's
great there,
clouted
Deffy.
that. Duke de Geneva, why do you have to be called that? Is miles clear now. He's going to turn in with a 10-length
Yeah,
lead.
he's
not coming
Cobden's
back, I don't think,
absolutely
is he?
flying.
This is how he won the Arkle, wasn't it?
Yeah,
He
I mean, he's
tanked
pinched
all the way
it. But
through
it's
it. didn't he?
Deffy
There's
totally
definitely no
done with
chance of
here.
Riders on the Storm winning this.
It's not over yet, lads.
It's not over yet, I
Not
know,
over
but
yet.
he's turning
He's
in
running on
with
fumes, the one in front.
Is he
kidding
really?
him along,
Here comes
really,
the kettle.
Deffy.
Go on,
Yeah.
the kettle.
Deffy.
Can he get the kettle steaming, or has Duke de Geneva nicked this? Deffy's clinging on for third, but I don't
jumped
think
it
he's
well.
going to get there.
Pulled him.
Deffy's
Deffy,
crawled
dear
over the
Lord,
2 out.
knackered.
So we come down to the
Aye,
last.
aye.
Duke is
all
5 clear
tired.
of Put the Kettle on. Go on, the
kettle
kettle.
on's
Go on,
on,
put the kettle
on
on.
the last.
Go on,
Put
put
the
the
kettle
kettle on.
on.
Still got 2
I
lengths
think we're
to
going to get
find.
him, Bruce.
Still got 2 lengths
Come
to
on.
find. This is the last.
Oh, he's
of
wandering all
the
over the
Arkle.
place.
all over
It's
the
a
place.
bite bite.
Exhausted. He's exhausted.
He's going to hold on.
She's going to.
No,
Is he
she's
going to
gonna
hold on?
get
Come
him.
on.
Get him.
Come on, Aidan.
Go on, Bruce,
Go on,
spin
get
this
the
on.
kettle. Come on, the kettle.
Go on, then, Brucey.
Put the kettle on. Get the beers in. Put the kettle on. Wins it. Ching-a-ling. Aye, aye. Put the kettle on. Wins it. Duke de Geneve second. We'll just have a little
dear.
wait for the third. I think.
we're
Where's
all right.
Deffy gone?
Deffy's
Deffy's
pulled
He's
up.
pulled up. He's
Oh,
pulled
no.
up.
Pulled
Poor
up,
old
I'm
Deffy.
assuming.
He's pulled
Put the
up.
kettle on. Wins it. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow.
Wow, the
Wow.
Cheltenham Hill really came into play there, Kills, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that was it. He just ran away with him, Duke de Geneva, didn't he? He nearly got away with it. He's obviously still an extremely talented horse.
First time hood was worn, you can see why.
Yeah. It didn't
How
make any
short did he
difference,
get?
did it?
Barry.
Got 1.30 he traded. That's the lowest he traded at, Bruce. 1.30. The winner hit a high of 19, and amazingly, Defi Desoy hit a low of 1.65, which is 6-4 on.
Well, that's bonkers, isn't it?
I don't know when that would have. When could that have possibly happened?
No idea.
8-1 from 14 for the Queen Mom Champion Chase. Put the kettle on.
That's still a big price, I'm telling you. She is so underrated. She's continually underrated.
You have got this horse absolutely right, haven't you?
I mean, she keeps winning. And at some point, the market needs to realise she's good. And
What I like about that run is I didn't like her at all through the first half. She was wide. She wasn't doing what she normally does, which is get into that flowy rhythm. She's had to dig deep there. Yes, she's beaten a horse that's fallen in a hole, but 2 former Arkle winners have fought that out. We're watching Defi now. Is this the first fence?
Yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
it's on
ballooned
and then knuckled. You don't know what that might have taken out of him because it was a bad knuckle, wasn't it? I don't know. Barry said about the Geraghty thing with him. If you remember, Richard Johnson over Hurdles was so good, wasn't he, on Defi? But maybe there's something in that.
We should discuss Richard Johnson at some point because his strike rate is through the floor this year.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
You know?
He's struggling, isn't he?
It's something that you've really been...
Yeah, something's bothered him. He's either he must be carrying some sort of injury or something.
For an extremely prolific rider over the years.
This is his last year. I'd say it's his last year.
Yeah, I mean, look, these guys, you look at what they have to go through in sport, the number of times they're on the deck, the attrition, the dieting, the travelling, the whole thing, the stress of it all. I mean, how he's lasted, he's 43, 44 years old, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, if Tony McCoy had never been a jockey, we'd be talking about this bloke as Sir Richard Johnson, the greatest sportsman of all time, because he would have won 25 titles.
Yeah, and he was probably driven a little bit by that second. We had Matty Batch in, as you well know. Matty Batcher on Friday was great value, and obviously he's very good friends with him. And we asked him a little bit about it, and he didn't really want to say too much on air, really. But I think probably he is feeling something along the way. I think.
Well, you're going to pick up so many.
And I said, was he bothered by all those seconds behind McCoy? He goes, he doesn't give up. He didn't give a monkeys. He said. He goes, he's mad, Dickie. He said, he's absolutely mad. Told some great Dickie Johnson stories along the way as well. But
I tell you what, he is such a nice fella. Dickie Johnson is such a nice man. He's an absolute gentleman.
When he was doing the column here, he would come in and he created a great buzz, and he was extremely pleasant. Yeah, absolutely. But that, I don't know. I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? We'll have to
it's a
keep an eye
shame
on
with
that one.
Defi, though, isn't it? Because he's a funny horse. If you remember, like in his 4-year-old year, he won the Triumph and he looked brilliant. The next year, that was a lost year for Defi, wasn't
absolutely
it?
went.
He completely went.
Hobbs had
And
a
then
problem,
when
didn't he,
came
with
back,
the yard, I think.
When he came back, all that good stuff really was over 2.5 against Lost in Translation.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden they've realised he can come back and be effective at 2. So it's a weird kind of career, isn't it? And there's new chapters being written here, not particularly good ones, unfortunately. So I don't know whether we'll ever see Defi, as the great Defi that he has been. What do you think, Hills?
It's one of those you don't know. The fact that he has gone missing, now sort of twice in his career, really, because he like you said, that Triumph Hurdle year, then missing a year, comes back good novice chaser, looks like he's going to be champion chaser. Runs a really lame race in the champion chase itself when he's 2-5, and it should have been at his mercy. And he just packs up. You saw him there standing on. He was obviously pulled up either before or after the last there. You just don't know with him. But I'm sure they'll give him a full workout. As riders on the Storm jumping sideways, he wasn't right first time out either. I mean, that is nothing like him.
You have to remember he was running in French bumpers as a 3-year-old. A lot of industry professionals that get these French breds, they always say when you get these juvenile hurdlers, they've only got, it's a bit of a shelf life they've got.
Yeah, you say that, but I mean, there have been some good ones. I mean, obviously, I don't think Tiger Roll ran in bumpers or anything like that, but he was. He still won a Triumph Hurdle, didn't he? And he's still going at the age of 11.
Not French bred, though, of course. But
I think someone mentioned in commentary that Duke did a might bite. He really did flew across the course there, didn't he?
He's not by Scorpion, is he, by any chance? No. But Nichols hasn't actually been having such a good run with these Jared Sullivan horses that have come off William Mullins. Perhaps unsurprisingly.
I thought that was a cracking run.
That was a brilliant run.
Yeah,
from the runner up there. Yeah,
that was a brilliant run.
And Stormy Ireland, that was a good run from Stormy Ireland as well. The mare that they had that finished second to a nice horse. But I'd be interested to hear what Paul has to say about that for Duke de Geneva there. His first run, I'd say he'd come on a stone for that, Paul, wouldn't he?
Well, you'd say he'd come on, but he was in and out for Willie Mullins. I'm not 100% certain that he's going to be any different than he was for Willie Mullins for Paul Nicholls. We'll have to wait and see. But he's got to run that freshness out of him, or he needs a really, really hard pace to chase, because you're not going to get up the hill like that in better company, in top company, are you?
Some Arkle winners can completely lose their way, can't they? Which he had looked like he.
Yeah, he
Very
lost his way.
Very few. The Arkle, if you look at basically from about middle of the teens, sorry, the noughties, the Roll of Honour is sensational.
Bar Western Warhorse.
Yeah, that's the one everyone always says. And funny enough, a few people have said it about Put the Kettle On, but I think she's...
Yeah, we can't be having that now. What I love about it, again, if I'm going to watch this race back, but you've watched the final fence, she's actually quite slow there. And to get that attitude that she showed to peg him back...
Oh, yeah, she's tough.
After the final fence
she's a real trier.
I haven't really seen that in her, that real, I'm beaten and I'm coming to get you.
Barry, could you get the Champion Chase market up? Because I just want to see what Kills thinks. I'm really interested. Kills, are you still Shaq Earn? Oh, no, you've got...
You're not.
You're green,
I like Green Teen, yeah. I do like Green Teen.
Well, I know we've had to suspend the Betfair Tyndall Creek betting off the back of that because Deafy the Soil obviously was the favourite there. And I'm sure we just want to see what's happened to him before we go back up with that. But in the Queen Mom Champion Chase, it's 5 to field. Chacon Poursois, Willie Mullins horse, a 5-1 chance. Altior 8. Put the Kettle On 8 now. Fake Dudaris 14. At Plutard 16. Duke de Geneva 16. We've introduced Duke de Geneva at a 10-1 for the Betfair Tyndall Creek in 2 weeks' time.
Who would you back, Barry?
At this stage, I wouldn't have a bet in it if I'm being perfectly honest. It's not a race that would interest me from an anti-post point of view. But the Kettle On hasn't done anything wrong. I'd like to see Duke de Geneva back up that run. And if he did, I'd consider him potentially for the Queen Mom Champion Chase.
Ooh, that's interesting, isn't it? What about Politolog is a big player now, isn't he, I suppose?
Yeah.
Grenadine.
How well would Politolog be then?
Good question.
I like Grenadine because he's young. I thought loads went wrong for him in the Hall and Gold Cup, and he still won it.
Lovely attitude he showed that day. Nichols' horse, of course.
And
he will be a rising 10-year-old. Politolog.
Yeah, see, I don't want to back 10. You know, you have to be very good. I mean, you have to be Moscow Flyer and Sprinter Sacre to win at 10 and 11
the
years
2-mile
age.
division actually now is looking...
it's wide open because
Great to have 5 to on the field, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
There'll be a lot of Altior loyalists who'll say, well, look, you know, if he comes back, he's just head and shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's favoured for the Betfair Tyndall Creek now.
Yeah, first time out is usually the time to get these old horses. I think Corto showed that as well, didn't he? Well, that was the Schlur. Incident packed as ever. Are you a lover of Put the Kettle On out there like Bruce? What happens to Deafy now? Don't forget, of course, check your members club, and of course, all the analysis. You'll get all the post-race quotes from the debrief there. We've got a bit of time actually now until the next. It's the 3 o'clock at Cheltenham, which is the big Greatwood Hurdle. They've been mentioned at the top of the show about Barry going back onto a racetrack. Finally,
can't you get some owners' badges or something?
Take Kills with you.
Sell me an extremely cheap horse.
As your vulnerable adult. I think we're allowed to do that over here, aren't we? Which is, which is fair. Yeah. When do we think? We said on the show yesterday. We said on the show yesterday that what would be favourite if you were putting a market? I want to get Bruce and Kills and Barry's and your views on this. What is the favourite if you're doing a book for racegoers to go back on track?
Well, I think it's a slightly... I don't want to be a pain in the arse when people just want a direct answer, but I think they'll bleed people back on very slowly. So there'll be 1,000, there'll be 2,000, there'll be 5,000. If you're talking about when will it just be...
Away from the pilots.
The full fat race-going experience. If you were pricing up so that you had Cheltenham 2021... Royal Ascot 2021 and Glorious Goodwood 2021, which would you and the fourth option was none of them. I don't know how you'd be.
I think I'd be Royal Ascot.
There was a lot of love for the Guineas meeting on the show yesterday. A lot of people saying May. Keith and Enzo both said May would be fair.
All we are is just a bunch of idiots who talk about horse racing. How are we supposed to know
it's fascinating.
How governments rolling out vaccines is going to work out?
But listen, that's all. It's hypothetical, Bruce. I don't want an actual.
Okay,
answer.
all right.
If you work, but because maybe there will be a market. There probably will be a market at some point when they're Barry on Betfair. When the race goes, will racing be on sort of market?
Yeah, we were going to put a market up on it actually off the back of an inquiry from the Post, and I spoke to our guys. For like Bruce says, for the sportsbook traders, it's just a complete guess up. You know, a complete guess up. So they couldn't do it, and to load it on the exchange, there was just a bit of pushback that they felt it was probably, not in the best interest from a public point of view. That was in bad taste probably to put a market like that up.
Yeah,
I'm not so sure. But that was the feedback we got on the exchange. But if I was pricing it up, I'd have to say Royal Ascot. You'd be disappointed if there wasn't crowds back for Royal Ascot now. I think the game will be on its knees by then.
He's dropped us in it there, Barry, hasn't he?
Yeah,
One of the
absolutely.
Racing Post reporters rang up wanting the market.
No.
Let's have a book on who that was.
No, I must rephrase that. There were several inquiries from racing press as to would we get a market for that up.
Yeah, but listen, it is an interesting thing. Like I said yesterday, a lot of people were showing some interest in that. I guess January's 1,000 to 1 now then. But so Royal Ascot maybe okay. But there has been green shoots. A lot of positivity about we need to concentrate on that. And Barry back on track for a big Betfair day next week. Let's get the market up then for the Greatwood. We've digressed somewhat, but we know you love it when we do that. So there's a couple of other things that I want to get from the guys as well as we go along. But the Greatwood, one of the great handicaps all year long on the flat or indeed jumps, and it's a 4-1 the fieldish type race. Barry Orr.
Yeah, Tegarek has come in for really good support for the last 24 hours and heads to market now of 5.7, which is just a little over 9-2. The early favourite Edwardstone, absolutely friendless in the market now, is out to 8-1, 7.5. Harry Skelton's horse, Ballyandy in there as well at around the 9.4 mark. The Shunter's the one I like in it for Emmett Mullins. I think eminently workable mark over Hurls. He's in at the foot of the weights. Robbie Power rides him, and I think he's definitely winning place material in this, Bruce. So I think we're 3 for 3 so far, Bruce.
We are. We're absolutely flying. Yeah, albeit one was a complete. I was going to say fluke, just totally incompetent.
The fluke bets are 2 from 2 now since the show's been going, so something in that.
Has someone else messed it up?
Ross Briley.
Oh, thank
Ross
God.
Briley did one with Neil Hubbard's.
Excellent. So the shunter is 11.5. How much are we having on, Barry?
Yeah, we're going to have 25 in the win and 25 in the place. And I'll take the 11.5 because I think there could be more money for this as the race develops as well.
That's got done. How many places are we going to go for?
Just standard place terms.
Standard 4.
4, yeah.
And he's 305. But it's 305 to back, 325 to lay. So should we try and get a little bit of extra juice out of this?
Let's be a price. I want to be a price taker, Bruce, because I think the price is going to be taken on the win.
Okay.
On the win market, and that's going to directly affect the price, obviously, on the place market as well.
So no messing
I'm
around
happy.
Then.
No, I'm happy to take the 25. Yeah.
Okay.
Or take a 25 at that price.
We've got a pony at 2-1 then. Okay, jolly good. You may know that. No, you wouldn't know this actually. No one would know this except me. The shunter runs in the same colours as the only horse I ever had a share in, Hey Little Boy.
Oh, right.
Because Paul Byrne pulled the syndicate together for us, and we used his colours, and he owns the shunter.
So, right, trained by.
Do you know what a shunter is?
Willie Mullins.
Willie
Mullins trained Hey Little Boy. Yeah.
All right.
And Emmett trains. Who was or is the shunter?
No,
Barry?
it's just rhyme and slang in Ireland. A wagon shunter.
Oh, for punter.
punter.
Yeah, we
Right.
call them
Yeah.
wagons. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
I wanted to know who Jason the Militant was.
Jason the Militant. Someone you drink with, I imagine.
It's not some sort of biblical figure like Francis of Assisi or anything.
Jason the Militant. What was Jason the Militant?
Don't know what
You
he
can't
is.
have anything. He's a doom merchant out there.
Oh,
He's
interesting.
militant, that man. It's usually someone I drink with, I can tell you that much. Okay, so it's the shunter for Barry. Bruce Millington?
I'm going to go Ballyandy. I think that this is a race where you'd normally look at a ton of progressive hurdlers who are going to potentially make that step up to champion hurdle class. And I've been through these, and I can't see that many. And I just think Ballyandy's one of these lovely horses who's just basically always a tiny little bit kind of underrated. And I just think he loves a battle. He loves Cheltenham. He loves the ground. I just think, particularly each way with a ton of extra places, I don't think you keep him out of the frame. But the more I look at it, the more I think he's valued to actually win the race. So I am going to go Ballyandy with Sam Twiston-Davies.
He's a remarkable horse, isn't he, Ballyandy? If you think back to his early part of his career, he looked like the next worldie, didn't he? And he was called a few names after that. He's come back and actually proven himself to be a likeable old horse. I'll give you that. Tom Segal has put him up in price-wise, I think, as well, hasn't he, today?
Yeah, you can see why. I mean, he's just extremely tough. He runs Cheltenham very well. He handles bottomless ground very well. He stays further. That is, all pluses. I actually had a decent bet on him. Place only, 6 places. I was odds against yesterday. Well, there was 7 places. Originally it was down to 6, but it's still odds against, which I just thought was daft. And he is just so tough.
Yeah.
Whether I can actually see him winning, I don't know. I would have much less on the win, which you can obviously do on Betfair. I've taken a chance because a bit like Bruce, I didn't really like that many at the front. I can see Tegarek, but last week, the last meeting was the day for him when they landed a massive gamble with that. It's not a bad piece of form because the fourth was beating 15 lengths and won at Huntingdon on Monday. But I think he's short enough now. Going to have a messy race here. There was zero pace in the race.
Oh, that's interesting.
There was zero pace in the race. That got me looking at, and I have no idea what the plan is. David Pike won this 7 years ago with Del Arco, who was having his first run coming from France. And he's got Thinking, who comes from France, having run once in a hurdle race.
In the Nick Schutz colours.
And won it. Now, it's quite interesting. If you go and register with France Gallop, you can watch any race you like free over there. And I watched him, and he beat a horse called YCCS Porter Servo
with Dr. Richard Newland,
which is with Dr. Richard Newland, and ran third to Mercy and Prince at Kempton in the week over fences, and he's rated 124, and he pretty much toyed with it. And just looking at him, he was this massive, gangly 3-year-old, miles bigger than the runner-up, and I was just looking at it and I thought, why CCS Porto? He's 124 over fences. I think Thinking would quite, if he's progressed at all, you'd really fancy him to win a run of the mill handicap hurdle off a mark of 132.
Yeah.
Obviously this is far from run of the mill, but it's not a brilliant race by any stretch of the imagination. So I do, he's weak in the market. You'd have to say that. So it's not expected. But I am quite interested to see how he goes. And he went from the front in France. And I just wonder, they're all going to be queuing up behind. They're all going to be trying to get the same patch of ground up the rail, far rail. You can just see it being a really messy race. So interested in him. Other one I was interested in was Cormier, because Brian Ellison has such a good record in the race, doesn't he? And he won it a couple of years ago. He just won 2 novice events, basically. But he did it very easily last time. And he's another one with a low weight.
I'm all over him, Kills.
Oh, yeah?
I am. I'm absolutely all over Cormier. I've had a right go at him today. You'll remember, we spoke to, on a feature show that we did, we spoke to Brian Ellison, didn't we? Or we tried to.
You did, I wasn't there. You did. I
was there.
I didn't
it was you, Bruce, wasn't it? Of course.
Bruce was there.
It was, and what we did get out of Brian, he was pretty coy about this chap. I spoke to him and I said, could this be one for something down the line? Because I didn't see, my uneducated brain didn't see that he had a P in his form as well. I thought he had just a 2 run, so I thought he needed to get another run into him somewhere to run into these. And he actually pulled me up on that. He wanted to get off the conversation. And whenever a trainer does that with me, I tend to find that that's quite a positive stance. He won this with Netcher, of course, exactly the same connections, exactly the same rider. And this horse has turned a humongous corner. And I can just see him going really, really well. 4-year-old's got quite a good record in the race. And McMenamin, I think, will be up there. I'm not worried about the ground for him whatsoever, despite the fact he's been winning on the flat. He went around Catterick on absolutely awful ground. He made it look like firm ground. He jumps really, really well. And he couldn't hold on to him long enough at Fakenham last time. He was holding him. The horse that he beat the time before at Utoxeter, it was a Dan Skelton horse. It was called Falvoir. And they thought it was an absolute certainty that day. And you watch back that replay, you've got time to do that in your members club. Harry Skelton goes to the last like that, and all of a sudden, he cannot believe what he's seen go past him.
Almost off, lads.
The fact that he's coming in with Cormier is a big tick for me.
This is Punchestown, mate.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at right. Not just the wrong horses, the wrong courses.
Things come in threes. What is the
next? He's having a blinder
what
today.
Is the next cock up Bruce?
We've got the screens in the studio here, and he said they're almost. Hang on, I thought he had. He's just to wax lyrical about
right.
it, which I was doing about Cormier.
We've still got 12 minutes. Carry on, Dave. It was fascinating.
He's still on the sofa, isn't he, watching the Masters, I think, which we'd have a little warm about. So listen, Cormier, I think, is a big, big player. So I've taken a flyer as well. Seems like there are flyers going all over the place.
Can I just have a quick rant, though, about Kills' selection, thinking, this is a handicap, this is a prestigious handicap, okay? And I don't think it's good enough that all punters have to go on in a big race like this is one little 3-year-old hurdle or whatever it was that he ran in France.
Do you think it should be at the handicapper's discretion then?
Well, I don't think it's enough to give a mark. I really, really don't. I just think if you're a punter and this thing wins. You're like, well, I don't know the form. I don't get it. I've got very little to go on. I go back to my greyhound days. You wouldn't just put some puppy into a race that's never run before. You've got to have 3 trials. I don't know, it obviously creates a few difficulties because you've got horses coming over. What are you meant to do if, say, a French trained horse comes over for a cross country? You can't make them have a trial. I just feel like, I don't know what the answer is, but I don't feel like that single piece of form from 2 years ago is enough for us to get a clear handle on how good thinking is.
There's a lot of guesswork kills, though, isn't there, I suppose?
Well, of course there is. I'm having a guess just because there's a big prize and Pipe's done it before. But
I mean, there's no science
I can
in that,
understand. No, there is no science. I can understand what you're saying. I mean, you could say an argument that when it comes to these big races, that horses should have run 3 times. I mean, they do it over fences in some of the big handicaps, don't they? I mean, remember the Badger when the young master got disqualified because he hadn't had the required amount, even though he won the race. So it's, you could argue. So hang on a minute, this is one of the marquee handicaps. And maybe you should, but...
Yeah, so you've gone for the 2 horses, actually, you sort of guess, because Cormier, you could argue that he didn't get home in that other third run, couldn't you, as well? So there's a P there as well. I just think he's nicely unexposed as well. But
Cormier's got a load and loads of flat form to his name. He's a horse people know. It's slightly differently.
It caught me out anyway. Let's have a look at some of the runners at the front of the market. Barry, before we go and dig around with their form, how's Tegarek holding up at the top? Is he going to go off clear favourite?
Yeah, he's steadied away. He's 5.4, which is 9-2 now, and it's. I hear Paul saying about the pace there. There's an interesting one for me, and I think he's the pace angle in the race. Evan Williams' horse.
Balinska.
Sorry?
Balinska?
Yeah, Balinska.
Yeah, that was the only other one I saw, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll go off in front. I think Sir Psycho wouldn't mind being up there either, and Hunter's Call for Ollie Murphy as well is one that would be prominent enough as too. But Balinska, and he's not without a chance either. Won a point-to-point in Oldcastle in Ireland before he was sold to the UK. He made all that day as well. So he's a horse that will go underground and should stay all day. But I just thought I'd flag that. But yeah, at the head of the market, the favourite, very strong.
He's quite interesting, Balinska, isn't he? Because of Evan Williams, of course, and he's only had the 3 runs under rules. So we don't know a great deal about him, do we? And I'm trying to think if Evan Williams, was it Silver Streak he had beaten in this by Netschka? Something tells me it was.
Could well have been.
This hasn't been, by the way, recently a race for the fancied runners. I think we've had 1 single figure winner in the last 7. So,
North Hill Harvey.
There'll be a lot of people who will say, well, that just doesn't matter. But I don't know, some trends kind of resonate, don't they? And I just feel like with this race, particularly this year, I don't see those progressives in single figures as having really done enough to really make me want to back. For instance, do I want to back Tegarek at 9-2? I don't particularly.
I don't.
I think of those 3 up-and-comers at the front of the market, Proschema's probably the one that I'm keenest on.
Really?
I don't, not for any particularly strong reason. The form just looks okay.
He's with a trainer who knows how to win these races, isn't he? And I tell you what, Proschema ran second at Wetherby in a race that Superb Story won. The Superb Story came here and finished second and then won the county hurdle. So, he's followed a sort of tried and tested.
I thought Proschema would win that day at Wetherby. What went wrong?
I don't know. I think he might be ridden a little bit more positively this time.
He was a stayer on the flat.
Yeah, he's a stayer on the flat. I just wonder whether he's tough enough for it to be really... he was tough-ish on the flat, but whether he's really going to want it this deep.
The form of that got well advertised when Anamoy went and won over fences.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It looks like it could be another Simply Bets for the
winner,
Whittingtons.
Anamoy. I wouldn't have thought he was that good, but it was, he's obviously franked the forms for sure, yeah.
What about Edward Stone, advertising the Supreme form? We know what Abracadabras has done.
I thought he was a bit soft. I got the impression he was a bit soft. I don't think he wants it as bad as this.
Alan King got a good record in this race.
Yeah, he has. I can understand why he's weak in the market, though. Because I just thought to myself that, he's won in soft ground, but I don't think there really is conditions.
He beat Fiddler on the Roof at the Badger Ales meeting last year. Do you remember? And Fiddler on the Roof was the only one that went round the outside. It was one of the, on the inside. Sorry, it was one of the first races of that Saturday. Everything then came on the outside. So Fiddlers, you thought, okay, we'll give him another chance. I wonder whether he was a little bit flattered by that. But there's a horse called Flick on You or something of Nichols. Flick on You, Barry. Yeah, he's just been winning, isn't he? So he's got Harambe, of course, in the race as well.
Yeah, well, won the race last year.
Won
the race last year.
Brought down when last seen, but he comes into it fresh. Only 3 of the last 10, for those who look at these stats, have won first time out in the last 10 years. One of them was Menora, who also carried top weight to victory. I think he was the last top weight. Bruce is going with the Bally Andy as well. Let's get the socials in then. They've been waiting. And here we go. Selection time. Frizzy Red says Psycho Keels.
So Psycho, yeah. I mean, I had a bit of a downer on the 4-year-old form, to be honest. I'm not a massive fan of it. I might have to change my mind given what All Mankind did the other day.
I was going to say give it a frank.
I mean, he looked fantastic. I got well involved into laying him over fences because I thought I was just going to be a nutter. But he was exceptionally good at work. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Psycho's a very tough 4-year-old. Whether he's really good enough for that sort of test off the mark that he's got, I don't know.
He fancied him for something, didn't he? He was beaten just under 5 lengths in the Goshen Triumph Hurdle. By the way, there was this day last year, Goshen made his hurdling debut at Fontwell on this day last year, and Gary Moore has won that race. I've just had on the corner of mine, something gambled off the boards in the Botox Ass colours.
Oh, is he?
We've got another one.
It's a real shame, isn't it, that Goshen's 2 runs in the flat have kind of been so lacklustre. I mean, I know that he's not remotely near his best at this point, but honestly,
is this a race that he could have entered him in? Do you know?
After that Triumph run, I thought, right, he's going to go and be a couples this year. He could win the Melbourne Cup. He could win the Eden.
You weren't alone.
I honestly thought, and he's ended up running in that. The second of those runs was at that Goodwood meeting on the Sunday, wasn't it? And he's led and got chinned, and it's such a shame. I really hope Gary Moore can get him back, but it's
his
just,
scope wasn't right the other day, wasn't it? Was he going to run? Was it?
He was going to run at Wincanton.
He might run. He was going to run in the. That's right. So the fighting fifth, Barry. That might be when we see Goshen again.
Yeah, he's in the fighting fifth. He's 11-2 chance or 6-1 chance at the moment for that. Yeah, I think that's where he's going to head.
Bruce, oh my gosh, and Millington, one of my favourite names. Okay,
I wish that was all I had said.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Ellis, good, welcome along, Steve. Each way, Ballyandy, he's with Bruce.
Steve
always
knows.
runs his race. Steve knows. Okay, great. We've given that a good talk up for you. And Danny Skelton, it couldn't be, could he? Broshima. Very good, Danny.
Yeah,
happy
very
days.
I'm sure the other real down Skelton's watching this.
Yeah, well, you never know, Kills. You get your mobiles out. Absolutely. Loads of different ways to watch this show, by the way, whether you watch on YouTube, Facebook Live, like and subscribe. That's what they're telling me you need to be doing. Let us know you're out there.
But yeah, you can see the love for Ballyandy, can't you? Because there doesn't look to be any superstars in it. When you look at the Roll of Honour of horses that have won this, you like of Rooster Booster, Detroit City, Size in Europe, Khyber King, Menorah. Some really, really good horses. Nothing strikes you that there's anything brilliant in it.
The handicapper left him alone as well, of course, a Foss and so royal. He could have put him up a couple of pounds, couldn't he? Just
yeah, could have done. Yeah, I mean, and that wouldn't really have suited him because I think they'd quickened from the front as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I don't think that, the form isn't bad at all.
Again,
obviously.
if you're looking at trend skills, I don't think 9 is the ideal number, is it? But it might just be that this is a weak year,
No.
So.
I can tell you how they fared. 0 from 6 in the last. In fact, ages are quite interesting. 3 10-year-olds have tried. 0 from 3. 6 9-year-olds have tried. 0 from 6. 8-year-olds. 0 from 10. 7-year-olds. 0 from 18.
But this is the last 10 years, obviously.
This is a young man's game.
This is in the last 10 years, though, wasn't it? Because
Yes.
Booster was 8 when he won it. It was a long ride.
Now he's interesting, isn't he? We mentioned him on the show yesterday. We were saying that Gamble was echoing memories of the great Rooster when he won this. You don't see Champion Hurdles horses in this at all anymore.
Not anymore. No, you used to. You used to associate with it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny. It just tends to be run on absolutely bottomless ground every year now, doesn't it?
Yeah, but also
it doesn't help.
I just think the hurdling division has really, really changed. I'm a little bit gloomy about it, just because the horses that used to come into the hurdling funnel are all heading off to Australia or to
It was good to see Ranch Hand, wasn't it, the other day?
Yeah, it was really good. I thought that. Yeah, it was because you used to get half a dozen of those, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who's the horse Fanshawe had that won the Champion Hurdle all those years ago?
World Gate.
Oh yeah.
World Gate.
Yeah, exactly. So decent horses with
Sheikh
decent
Mohammed's won it
platform.
from
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Princess, yeah.
Just don't seem
Ranch
to
Hand,
see
I
that
hope he
anymore.
does well over hurdles, because
I
it represents that fallen strain of horses that we used to see. Great to see Paige Fuller getting those rides as well. Andrew Balding with a couple of interesting flat horses. Yeah, we need them. I agree. I was a little bit down on the Protectoriat race. Is that how we say his name? The Skelton winner. I was expecting to see a few more sexy novice chasers in the. I think the Irish are absolutely what a stone's ahead of us. I think.
Barry.
Not 100% sure. I thought Protectorate was pretty good.
Yeah, of
It
course,
was pretty good, yeah.
What's he beating though?
I was impressed with him.
Stone.
Barry, the money's come for the shunter.
I see that, into 8.4 now.
No.
I mean, the thing is, Paul
Byrne.
Paul Byrne, we know Paul. I mean, he's a former colleague, and I don't think this is some kind of plot that's been 2 years in the hatching. I mean, he spoke to our colleague David Jennings in the week.
Two of his last three.
And he wasn't sure whether to run in this or there was a target back home. And I think DJ said they were chatting about it, and it was almost like, well, all right, I'll go on, then I'll run it in that. So, like I said, I don't think this is some really carefully orchestrated coup. But there is a lot of money coming in now. So. Yeah, I would think that's definitely the case. Yeah.
Just give us a line on Emmett Mullins, Barry, because he's thought to be a real shrewdy over there, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that can work against him as well sometimes. They have, there's been a couple of times where they've backed his horses from all sorts of prices in poor races as well, it has to be said. But, he's a very capable trainer, but he's getting a bit of a name that it's a job stable, which is not good for a young trainer sometimes to be associated with that. He has to break through into the next level, get a decent horse and, distance himself somewhat from just obviously having to create those jobs to make it pay and go forward. But whether he does that or not is another thing.
Right, so market moves then, as they are almost off genuinely this time. I've got the right race course.
Are you sure?
Teggerek is very strong. Teggerek is strong at 5.2 at the front. Prosima's really popular at 6.4 as well. Ballyandy unpopular at 12. Any outsiders, Barry, that have attracted a bit of money?
Not really, no. Strong Glance is steady away at around the 19 mark. Balieska the same. It's just at the head of the market is where the action is, really, Bruce. And the only outsider is the shunter, and we flagged that.
I just saw the jockey not on the back of Teggerek just now, so I don't quite know what's going on there.
Kevin Brogan, Keels, give us a word about him.
He's obviously very good, isn't he? I mean, his strike rate lately is brilliant.
On
fire.
fire.
Ireland, he's been, absolutely on fire. I mean,
and he's in the saddle, but the horse is out the back.
He's going to be great value when he goes down to 5.
Is he going to start though, lads? Look, he's been yanked along.
He don't really fancy it,
he is a bit of a wrong on the horse. He's definitely got his own mind about the game, for sure.
Look, you're
so they're almost ready to go. We've got 14 runners here, and he looks like, Teggerek's just about joined the main pack, so he should be off in just a moment. He's drifted out as a result of that little incident to 5.9. Prosima's 6.4. The shunter really well back now, third favourite at 8.2. Another outsider attracting a little bit of money.
There they go.
Harambe, as they're off. It's a horrible, raggedy standing start. Dear. That's not good at all, that. And cutting out the early pace.
Thinking, isn't it?
Is thinking?
Baliniska.
Oh, no, it is Baliniska. No,
yes, it is Baliniska who is in front from...
Thinking's gone round the go.
Is that Ballyandy in second?
Looks like it's raining, chaps, isn't it, at Presby Park?
That's all right. We can live with that. So is it Ballyandy in second, lads? Can we confirm that? Also,
yes, it is.
Yeah, it is Ballyandy
prominent in the pink cap is Strong Glance, who attracted money before the off. Proskima is well back. Teggerek's well back. The shunter is in a nice position as they turn in and they face the hurdle in the home straight, and then they'll go out and do another circuit. Any market moves, Barry Orr?
No, nothing at the moment, Bruce. It's steady away. I suppose the one that's off in front that we said would get to the front, he's just come in from 30 into 16.
Okay.
Yeah, you called that right, Barry. Absolutely. Paul, what sort of...
Hunter's Call is shortened up on the outside. Aidan Coleman going for a double.
What sort of gallop are they going, Keels? So nice and strong out.
I don't think they're going that fast, but I mean they've all seemed to sort of settle into a position, haven't they? So yeah, I wouldn't say it's hectic, but I wouldn't say it's really slow.
Your guess up horses, Thinking's right in the
My
middle
guess
of the
up
pack?
horse, yes, right in the middle of the pack. I thought they might go to the front from where it was just a guess, but he's a monster drifter late on. He was 40 odd. Yeah, so this may not be the day. It might be too much for him. We don't know, but.
Turning off down the far side.
He still just looks a big gangly horse, doesn't he?
Teggerek's only got 4 behind him, and the one right out the back, is that Edwardstone?
Cormier and Edwardstone, yeah.
He jumps well, Thinking, though. He just flew that hurdle.
They're really strung out. They've never really got back into a kind of peloton after that really, really untidy start. And so we've still got Balinska and Brian Hughes making it. On his inner is Ballyandy, and up on the outside we've got Hunter's Call. Also prominent are Strong Glance and Sir Psycho, and then we've got the Shunter, and then we've got Harambe, and then in the green colours behind that I think his Keels is Thinking. So that's the third flight they've jumped. They're going down the far side. Yeah, the weather's definitely getting worse, isn't it, boys?
Absolutely.
And
That bumper will be a slog at the end
well,
of the day.
well, will they be able to run it? I mean, if you thought it was dark last night, they're running this bumper at 4:05. Look, good luck getting that one off. Ballyandy's now gone up and got right onto the leader's flanks, and he's pestering for the lead. Sam wants to make this a real strong test, but he doesn't jump that particularly
Cormier
well.
put down there. Edwardstone's going well.
Where
He
is
does
he,
travel
old
well.
Ed?
Right out the back, he's making a move now.
Okay.
He does travel well, Edwardstone. It's just what he finds when he hits that hill.
So we've jumped forward, we're at the halfway stage of the Greatwood Hurdle, and it is still Balinska, who's 15. What's Ballyandy's price now? He's 9, so the market's not really taking too much of a notice of
Hunter's
this.
Call being a
Hunter's
mover in the
Call.
market into 13 to 2.
He's 3rd, and he's going okay.
Countessa's gone, hasn't it?
Anything making some progress from the back, boys? Yeah, Countessa, who's Hendo's only runner today,
Sir
has been
Psycho's
pulled out.
travelling well. Sir Psycho in the red hat's travelling well, and Hanbury, last year's winner's travelling
Yeah,
Hunter's Call does
Harambe's
look
going
good.
really, really well.
Yeah,
But
the
Ballyandy...
shunter isn't going so well, but Ballyandy's taking a length out of these, isn't he?
Yeah, Ballyandy now, I think he's going to jump 2 out in front.
I think Cormier's
he
too
is
far
just
back.
About.
Proshima's gone, I think,
Still
guys.
going really well now. Hunter's Call
He still
on the
hasn't
outer.
got past the leader, Ballyandy, has he?
No, he did
still hasn't
briefly,
gone.
He
I think.
hasn't.
He did,
There he
so
has
they're
now.
turning in now. Definitely Ballyandy, but he's been
Edwardstone should have a
shunted
say,
along, but
guys.
he's nicked a length out this. Can he win this, Ballyandy? As they're coming down to the last, Ballyandy,
Shunter's
Hunter's
staying on.
Call. The shunter is
Shunter's
beginning to
staying on.
stay on.
comes.
Ballyandy's going to jump the last in front. He pings
This is the
it,
shunters,
but they're
isn't it?
queuing up in behind. We've lost Harambe there. Here
Come on,
comes
Barry,
the
oh!
shunter. Here comes the
Come on,
shunter. The shunter and Ballyandy. Who's this coming in
Tegerek.
third?
Far now, pup. Not
Who's
too
this
far.
flying?
Tegerek.
Edwardstone. Is that Edwardstone's Teggers? But
He's
it's the
Teggers.
shunter. The shunter
All
wins
over,
it.
lads, all
Ballyandy
Well
is
done,
in
Barry.
second.
Oh, happy
in
days.
third, it's Tegerek. Hunter's Call is 4th. I think the early pace setter Baliniska was 5th. But the shunter and Paul Byrne win it. And Barry Orr, you are such a judge. I don't think you've got anything wrong yet.
No, 4 from 4, straight away. Class is permanent, as they say. Barry Orr, take a bow.
Unbelievable.
Job trainer or not, Barry, he got it right.
I was going
Yeah,
to say,
he's
I
not
was
able
going
to get one ready.
I was going to offer you my job, Barry, but I think you probably earn miles more than me anyway.
Yeah, but he does actually have to do some work.
Exactly.
He gets to go racing though, doesn't he?
Does
Oh,
get
he
to
has.
go.
This is, yeah, listen.
Absolutely.
Now that's
Smashing it down with rain, but Robbie Power there, he's been the man of the meeting.
he has,
hasn't
he has, and it's huge for Puppy Power because making that decision to come over and leave his family because of the COVID restrictions, he can only go back to Ireland for the Grade 1 winners. He's given this an absolute peach because Barry, he looked beaten.
Yeah, he certainly did. When they quickened at the top of the hill before they turned it down into the straight, he was pushing them along, doing plenty of rowing, but all the horse does is stay, and that was evident. Jumping the last, I think the right was on the wall. Tegerek, interestingly, traded at 2.10, which is 11 to 10, bang on 11 to 10. Ballyandy traded at 7 to 2 in running, so
there's,
plenty of action there. But
Someone's
good
had a
result for the
tenner on the
injured jockeys
shunter.
one.
There's been a tenner matched at 60 on the shunter, so he obviously did look like he was
I thought
in
he
big trouble, didn't he?
I thought he did, and the fact he's come back up the hill. You know, this is a horse. Does he wear a hood? The horse, yeah, he does. Well, was it first time tongue tie and hood together? So I've saved it for this. But getting weight from everything, he had to be handy in that race, lads. I think we can say that. I want to see how far back Tegerek is because he was the only one really that made a significant impression on the finish from all that way back. I'll tell you who has run well. I don't want to go on about it too much, but Cormier has run really well.
Where did he finish in the end?
Ninth.
It was
He hasn't run well at
He
all.
has run well.
You're easily impressed.
He has run well. He has run well. Let me tell you
We'll
why
wait
he's
and
run
see.
well. Listen,
Okay.
he's not made an imprint on the finish. This is what, and this has stood me in good stead. So I'm going to stand up
I've
for
got
this
his goat
impression.
here, haven't I?
You absolutely
I've got
have.
under his skin. Sorry.
This is a 4-year-old that's only had 2 runs in novice companies. Jumping was slightly exposed there. Obviously, I'm watching him out the back because I've had a good go on him. But he missed, I think it was the last as well. He's just heading far too far off the pace. He's a mile 6 or so on the flat. They've got the tactics completely wrong because he's been scything through novice company. There is a big handicap in Cormier, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough.
For the future, he has
All right.
run well.
I'll-
Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, well, we'll see when we see the replay.
I'll have another look, but my first impression is you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
It often is your first
We'll wait
impression.
and see.
I'll tell you what, let's
wait
pay
and see.
tribute to a horse who has got no scope whatsoever, but is a lovely horse, Ballian.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's brilliant,
He's just
isn't he?
tough
He's
as old
such a
boots.
brilliant, tough horse.
Yeah.
He's the kind of horse that punters back time and time again, and he gives you a run for your money.
A
Just
typical STD ride, that, isn't it?
superb,
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely
he's just
brilliant.
giving him the perfect way, because remember, this is a horse that can be put anywhere in a race. I mean, but he knows that he needs to be probably close, because he hasn't got to turn a foot, and he probably thought they're not going to go that fast, and they didn't really go that fast, I don't think.
No.
And so they've got him. It's got him in the right position. But if you remember, he's come from Milesbury. He came from Milesbury and finished third in the Coral Cup a couple of seasons ago. So he can, they can put him anywhere they like in his race, and he just does what he's told basically, and then and tries his hardest.
Which wasn't always the case in his novice career, because he champion
I
Bubba.
disagree. I think it was a bit. I think it was a bit of a slow learner jumping hurdles. That's all he got. He still won the Betfair Hurdle, if you remember.
I could argue he didn't do what he was told to then, Kills, by jumping hurdles.
Well, yes, but I mean, but he tried and he learned, and he's just a tough horse.
Did we see much of Proshima in the run?
No,
He just again, they weren't as positive as you thought they might be. Kills on him, and he's just run flat, hasn't he?
I think if you got the extra places, Edward Stone was 5th. I'm not sure he was.
He
6th.
tried to make an imprint, and I think probably Kills is right. He hasn't quite got
up
up
the hill, has he?
No.
No.
Flat track back for him. If you remember, it was Aintree and the likes, and Haydock where he was running last year. That's where Cormier made his first mistake. He's put him on the back foot. We've got to go on to Fontman. I'm being told in
before
my
we
ear.
can see
You watch it back in your members' clubs. I'm telling you
just
what.
switched over.
I've been in this game for a long time for good reason, boys.
All right.
So listen, look, I think there's a project in Cormier. I may well be right or wrong. We don't
Well,
know.
if
That's
I
the
think
beauty of
back
this
to
game.
Goodwood and your thing that
Junk Canoe.
Junk Canoe, you said that was a project. So if Dave Orton says they're a project, then they are.
Cheers, Bruce. A nod to Junk Canoe in the jump season. Happy days. I'd like to see him jump a hurdle, actually, Gary Moore, if you're listening. Okay, let's go, because we've got the Sussex National coming up, and we're going to be going put the kettle on during this, aren't we? We're going to be, this is going to be proper slog fest stuff. You guys have been interested in the distances at Fontwell today.
Well,
Why? Because the ground's awful.
Yeah, the ground's terrible. It's really sticky. It's going to be hard work. But then these are horses largely
Relishing it.
bred for it and do it. I mean,
Okay.
they have many of them have got bits of form in what I call the NAF Nationals, because we have plenty
very
of them.
good.
You were smiling at me.
You
there.
could call them the Nafinals.
Yeah, the Nationals. Yeah.
The Grand Nafinals.
The Sussex National.
All right. Sussex National won by Christmas in April. Devon National won by Christmas in April. He's the fav. Again, he's with Colin Tizard.
Let's get the market up, then we can have a look at this.
Horses have-
Kills talking us through.
Horses have been a bit slow to come to hand,
Yeah.
but he's got plenty of form to his name in the Nashes. And you've got West Street, who's the one that I like. We better get Barry's one first, because we've got to get Barry's charity bet.
Barry's
on before they're off.
flying. We're winning
Absolutely
so
flying.
much here. The injured jockey's fun. All these ex-jockeys are going to be driving around in limos and living in 5-star castles, the amount of money Barry's winning. Let's keep the run going,
Yeah.
Barry. Who are we going to be on?
I fancy Cloudy Glennet, and it's just on one piece of form, really, Bruce. Just the time that he was second to Daisha in Sandown. I thought that was a pretty decent run. He struggles with consistency, I think it's fair to say, but I thought it was interesting that he wasn't one of that went to the dispersals for his owner, Trevor Hemming, that they've decided to keep him in training. So I thought that was a good sign as well. He's currently on the Betfair Exchange. He's currently 5.9. I think he got bigger than that. I'm happy to back him, though, at around the 6 mark. So we'll be a price maker here, Bruce.
Okay.
You select to back him and move it up to 6. As I say that, his price begins to collapse. He's 5.5 now.
Are we having a 50 on?
We're having 50 on, yeah.
Okay, mate.
I'd back him at 6. I wouldn't be backing him now at any
He's
shorter than
collapsed. He's
6, which is-
5.2.
Yeah, I know that.
Shall I
but
put
wouldn't
the
be
keep
backing
bet
him
up?
Yeah. No, leave it, because I don't mind cancelling this if it doesn't.
Oh, don't you? All right, I'll unkeep it then.
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah,
get
just,
down the
hang on,
panel.
just leave it for in running.
We need to get down the panel. It's
Just-
not that far away from
Okay,
jumping off,
right.
actually.
I don't know if we're going to get done here, Barry. We've only got a couple of minutes to go.
Bruce,
we'll
who
leave it
wins?
and
Who wins,
Well,
Bruce?
I thought
panic.
Christmas in April was a very big price at over 4. It's 4.2 on the exchange. I just think he's solid. I
Yeah.
know he's got a P by his name, but that's absolutely fine. He's pretty consistent beyond that. He's won these kind of races on this kind of ground. There's quite a lot of these horses actually don't particularly look like they like soft ground.
He
So
went
I
off
th-
favourite for the Midlands National.
I think he's a massive price. He's much bigger than he was this morning, and I still fancied him then.
well,
So
I
I'm
wanted
going
to
with
ta-
El Christmas.
I wanted to
I
take
like
him on.
him.
I wanted to take him on. I mean, he drifted, makes me less likely to want to take him on. But I back West Street. He was third last year in the Surrey National at Lingfield, then won the Highland National at Perth.
The NAFNL.
And he's back. This is 2 seasons ago.
I think they're quite good, all those nationals.
He's back on the same mark. So that was a good one. And I've backed the rank outsider as well. Charlie Mann's Morny Wing.
He's been around forever.
He's been around forever. He had a terrible year last year, but he's tumbled down the weights as a result. I mean, he started last season on the mark 130.
He's got a proper little lad on his back.
He's down to 118 now.
Great
I mean, he was third to Cross Park in the Ida Chase, and he has won the London National at Sandown in December 2018. So, like I said, a load of them have got form in the NAF Nationals. And I
think that's harsh. I think they're good.
That has tickled me. Absolutely. I mean,
the only one,
it's a provincial national, basically.
I mean, I can't believe I'm going against Barry, given he hasn't had a loser yet. But I thought Cloudy Gem was the one horse for me that looked like it was a non-stayer. It would be a non-stayer with this sort of trip.
And by the way, you're talking about the ground, Dave.
Yeah.
That Gary Moore Juvenile that you said has just won, that one by 59 lengths.
Ooh, really?
So,
the distances, is it? Yes.
And another distance back to the third.
Pleased you, has it?
The distances.
It did.
Bruce is a massive distance player. Let's keep the social media comments coming in. We're warming up towards the end of the business end of the show. What a weekend it's been. We'd love having you on board. This is going to be, I've got a feeling this might be a bit of fun and japery in this call. What is it, 3 mile 3?
They're off.
Bottomless
3 miles, 3.5. That is literally, I think, 4 laps, isn't it? It might even be more than that.
Who doesn't want to jump off at the back there?
They just go around forever. The Trev, Cloudy Glen, was a little bit slow, and Gangster as well was slow to get
Tom
going.
Segal's pick.
Right. Yeah, he likes it. I mean,
Jack Tudor's already used up one of his one of his strikes.
Don't mention Jack Tudor. Don't mention Jack Tudor to Barry.
This horse on soft ground is his conditions, so you could say it's Gangster's paradise, really, couldn't you?
He's got him in. He's been warm. He's been waiting in the wings.
You got a musical reference.
I just pretended I knew what you were talking about.
Kills apparently has no idea about music, by the way.
Have you ever paid for
this is
music
about.
in your life? Have you ever bought a record or or paid for a download?
Did you used to have the Walkman or anything like that? Did you used to have like a
no,
nothing?
You've never paid for music in your life?
I see Kealy with a boombox on his shoulder.
Right.
When this race is over,
Moonwalking.
When this race is over, I'll tell you 2 other amazing things about Paul Kealy has never. But anyway, we've got another 4 laps to go, so I better hurry up and tell you what's going on. Christmas.
I think he's right about Cloudy Glen. He's been ridden like a horse they're concerned about staying.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
I mean, they're lolloping along. They've literally got 3 more circuits. But Christmas in April and John Joe O'Neill Jr. have cut out the early running ahead of Doing Fine. And then we're a little way back to West Street. On that one's outer is Morny Wing. On the wide outside, we've got Gangster. And then the last 2 at this stage are Diable de Civola and the Trev colours, Cloudy Glen with Charlie Deutsch in the plate. The middle one down the far side. Barry, you're watching this in front of us, so you're going,
West Street's gone.
West Street's gone.
Hampered Cloudy Glen.
Unlucky. You've only got 10 more minutes before so you can think about another bet. This race.
Am I right in thinking you need a cheer today, Kills, as well? You've been rather sedate with the old chat.
I haven't had much at all. I had a shout in every single race on Saturday, and I have not had a sniff today.
Yeah. You got chin 1.01 on pretty much everything.
It's a bit naff, isn't it?
It is a bit naff.
Right, they're heading down the far side towards the polytrack. Actually, that new polytrack they've stuck down the bottom bend, that's probably saved this meeting, hasn't it? Because there was an inspection, wasn't there? So it's still bottomless. But there's only 6 runners left now that West Street has departed. In the old days, when you could remount, he probably would have had half a chance. It's such a long race. But anyway, they're coming off the polytrack for the first time. And Christmas in April, Barry has shortened a bit, hasn't he, now?
Yeah, into just 2-1 now, Bruce. 7-2 Doing Fine and 4 each of 2 the other 2.
By the way, I'm trying to work out whether you got matched. You didn't get matched on that, Barry.
I'm okay with that.
You happy with that? There's a few odd jumps.
Everything has its price.
Yeah, that's good. Good discipline.
It'd take a lot of beating, I think. Christmas is in April now. The way he's just getting on with it, aren't there? A lot of them are either not in a good rhythm, they're making the odd error, they're pulling a bit.
Yeah, Morny Wings had a couple of scrappy jumps, and so's Gangster on the outside. And Diable de Civola is difficult. Doing Fine's actually quite shortened in the market. He's favourite now.
That's interesting. He's
taken over.
Well,
he's
got a lot of back class.
He's in front. He stays forever, doesn't he? Yeah, and he's like you said, he has got a lot of back class. He's done, you know.
Are you excited, Kills?
I'm not excited anymore because I've only got the outsider. I've only got the outsider running for me now, and he isn't going that well.
Who, Morny?
Yeah.
He's doing all right, isn't he?
No, not
He's quirky though, Kills.
Yeah, he is quirky, but he hasn't picked his feet up.
2 laps to go.
Just the 2 of the figure of 8.
Isn't it? Sorry, I've got time now to say the 3 mad things about Kills. He's never paid for music in any form, so he's never bought a single or an album.
This is this game where you say, have I ever?
Yeah. He's never, ever owned a pair of blue jeans, which is extraordinary. And, germane to this race, Kills, you've never been to...
I've never been to Fontwell, yeah.
Never been to Fontwell? I mean, that's outrageous.
Yeah, it's down the road as well. Well, you know,
One of
the racegoers track.
One of the nicest little country courses. Have you been, Barry, to Fontwell?
I don't think I have, Bruce, no.
You'd know if you had. You would know if you had.
I'll tell you what, you can quite easily forget leaving there. The Racing Post boys used to go down there a lot.
I used to go to Plumpton all the time. I've been to places like Redcar and Pontefract and Fontwell's.
I've never been to Redcar.
Yeah,
Plumpton's
a great meeting.
But you know, I mean, Fontwell's only about 40-minute drive from me though.
I don't know how you've never been. I honestly don't. Right, anyway, out the back, his Morny Wing kills his other bet. Didn't jump that particularly well. As they leave, you can't really talk about back straights and home straights here because it's a figure of 8, but they're turning into what will be the home straight in another lap, if that makes any sense. And up front, no change in the order. Christmas in April and Doing Fine are slugging it out. Keeping tabs on them are Diab de Civola and Cloudy Glen.
Yeah, I mean, if Cloudy Glen stays, I mean, he's tanking along at the moment, isn't he? But I mean, you just wonder whether he's using up any of his energy by doing what he's doing. He's obviously used to going a lot faster than this. He spent a lot of his time over 2.5 mile.
Yeah.
And he's just lobbing along.
And making it sometimes.
He's a naturally faster horse than these, isn't he? But whether he stays at the end of it, that's the...
I think Christmas is controlling the
I
race.
agree,
just fine.
Bruce. I agree.
Fine.
The Connections won the first race today at Fontwell as well, actually. The same colours for the Tizzars, the Novice Hurdle. Quite a nice little horse.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he's won these races before on this kind of ground. But doing fine is doing fine, and he just takes what will be the last on the next circuit in front. The outsiders, as far as the betting goes, are just struggling now. Gangster has used up 2-3 of his allotted strikes now, Jack Tudor. But he's responded. A Morny Wing looks like he's on his way up. But there's a very, very close 4-way tussle as far as the betting goes. Christmas in April, 3.5. Cloudy Glen 3.5, Doing Fine 3.5, and Diab de Civola 7. So it's a 4-way go by the looks of it. Gangster trying to cling on. Who do you think is going to win, lads?
I think he's racing a tad lazily, despite the fact he's leading Christmas in New York. He keeps shaking the reins at him a lot, at John Joe Jr. Doing Fine going better for me.
Doing Fine's the one that he just looks like he's enjoying himself out there, and he's bit of a character in his life, isn't he? But when he's enjoying himself, he's pretty good.
Have you opened up a fresh position?
I have opened up a fresh position, yeah.
Who have you backed?
I've backed Doing Fine and running at 3.5. I thought that was fair enough. I'm sort of expecting Cloudy Glen to run out of puff.
Matty Batch was eulogising about Robbie
Pulled up
Dunn
out the back Morny Wing, by the way.
Yeah, he's gone, as he. I mean, Jack Tudor's absolutely. This is not the ride you want to be having, is it?
Right, jumping down to 4 out. There's 4 in it, basically.
This
Gangster's going to take a hell of a lot of cajoling to get back into it. And Doing Fine now is the clear leader. Christmas in April has just been shunted along after they jumped 4 out. They're about to make this long, sweeping arc round to the home straight on the poly track, and then they'll rejoin the turf course and they'll jump an open ditch and 2 others. It's all uphill. The ground is very soft, and they're coming into the final half mile of a 3.5 mile slog. Cloudy Glen is either absolutely cruising,
he's one
or
of those
Charlie Deutsch is desperately trying to hold on
because
he thinks he's going to fall
down. I don't
the
think he's
hole.
going to find much.
No.
Christmas is producing. It's all about what Doing Fine's got. Diablo de Civola really keen early.
Christmas is in trouble now. Christmas is emptying out. I think we're in trouble because Cloudy's odds on. So
he's coming. Barry Orr.
But on the outside, no, we're not on. We didn't get matched, did we?
I bet a lot of people out there did.
3 in a line over the last. Doing Fine. Diab de Civola. But here comes Cloudy Glen. He's absolutely cruising. He's 106. I'm not sure I'd want to back him there just with the stamina.
101, lads.
But he's jumping the last. He's absolutely pinged it.
Yeah,
it does look like it is all over. It's Cloudy Glen and Charlie Deutsch, who's careering clear now up the hill.
It's a national horse.
The others have got no answer to him. Christmas in April actually might just get back up around for second place, but it doesn't matter. Cloudy Glen and Charlie Deutsch have absolutely waltzed to victory. They've won it by 15 lengths. It's very close for second. I think it's just about Doing Fine from Christmas in April, who've spent pretty much the whole of the 3.5 miles together. Now, the first thing we've got to work out is Was that my fault that we didn't get done, Barry? Is there any
No,
culpability?
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. None whatsoever. Sometimes you can be too clever in this game, or you can try to be too clever in this game. I just thought I wouldn't want to be taking like around 7-2 the horse. I thought his price should have been about 5, and you take your chance, don't you?
You do.
Yeah.
It can be a bit sickening when you don't do that. But
Exactly.
if you've made the decision at the time, that's the decision you thought was right. Are you good at that, Kills? With discipline?
I think what... Don't ask him at the moment. He's desperate for a winner in the last. But I think that the one thing, if you have done what Barry's done out there and not gone in, just remember your radar was quite right. And what a radar Barry has had today. All I want to know is now, what's going to win the last?
Well, quite.
Yeah.
We'll come
I was
to-
fancying the favourite in the last, third time lucky, Dan Skelton's horse. I've spent a lifetime opposing Dan Skelton.
Something tells me you didn't want to hear that, Kills.
Some of his novices.
Yeah,
but,
well, he's got to get one wrong, hasn't he?
He has, quite right.
Oh,
Absolutely,
that was unlucky, that wasn't it? Because we
Keels, don't forget, this is for charity. This is for the IJF.
Oh,
We're all
absolutely.
winners here.
I'm delighted. I'm delighted for you, Barry. Yeah.
Got to keep some of the satchels. What do we
I'm
do with Cloudy Glen
I'm
now?
just having
by
a
the
little
way?
mental count up. That was all.
What do we do with Cloudy Glen? He's going to go up, what, at least £7 for that. You'd be looking at Warwick Classic chases now, that sort of stuff.
you know what, Dave?
I mean, he's
Whenever
an
you-
interesting horse now because when you travel that well and you stay, then you can go into better company. And yeah, he's.
Do you not like trying to predict the future, or do you?
Dave, you know the programme book so much better than me. And whenever they cross line, you always say, where are they going to go next? And I've never got a clue.
Probably Warwick Classic chase. Robbie, is that right? Okay. Look out for him in Warwick. In February or it's January, isn't it? I think national horses can go there.
it's January.
But Trevor
yeah.
only buys horses for one reason, Trevor Hemmings, and he, as Barry said before, had that massive dispersal. He's getting old. He thinks that COVID has ruined his enjoyment over the years, but he does tend to just think about one race when he buys horses. And Barry, whatever you saw there, you were absolutely spot on, because that has won pulling a cart. Very good indeed. Christmas April a little bit lazy for me throughout that. Bit to prove maybe going forward. Is he on a high mark? Anyway, let's get back to Cheltenham, because it's the final race of the weekend. Unbelievable scenes. It's a Supreme Novice Trial, and we do indeed have a hot pot, Barry Orr. What price is third time lucky?
Third time lucky, 1.97. Just let me get it up here with all the excitement. My computer's just crashed, but yeah, at the moment, third time lucky, 192 now. So the money's comfort. He's around the evens earlier on. Philadelphia is 6.2, 6.8 Jungle Junction, not without a chance. And it's 8.2 Court and Bold. But yeah, I thought the favourite would take a bit of beating here myself, if I'm being perfectly honest. But
What's the trade?
I don't
then?
know. Well, I was backing him at 197 around the even money mark. He's 191 now. So I was going to back him and just try to get out of him in running. I think he's going to go off and try to make plenty of use of him. That was the way I was reading the race anyway. So I was happy enough to have 50 quid on him, Bruce, at that price.
So 50 quid on who? Sorry, Barry?
On the favourite.
Okay,
Third
sorry.
time lucky.
I'm just trying to be careful because I don't want to blunder again. Right, okay. We're on. We're safely on.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do is, Bruce, I'm going to look to lay him back in running, just take the stake out of him, much as we did in the with the horse earlier on.
What have I done?
Abracadabras.
I've done lay all. Hang on. Whoa.
I did
Sorry.
say you were going to
All
cock
right,
up
all right,
again,
all right.
didn't I?
No, right, go on.
Well, that'll work out.
What price are we
Yeah.
laying at, Barry?
And about 1.5.
1.5 for 50.
Yeah, we take 50 quid back out of him, yeah.
The next time you back something by mistake, can you text me just before it runs?
I very rarely make mistakes, Dave.
Just on this show, aye.
Yeah, just the
Well,
3 today.
If you weren't wondering what that was, in the first race we covered, Barry put up Ramsey to Teye. Or no, he didn't. Bruce thought he did, but of course Ramsey to Teye when it went. So Barry Orr is, I guess by default, through the line. I usually come to Bruce's, but I want to come to you, Kills, on this. Something tells me you'll be opposing this chap.
Massively, yeah. I mean, he is priced up on his fourth in the champion bumper rather than what he's done over hurdles. If he hadn't run in bumpers last season, he'd be 6-1 to win this.
Question for you.
Crazy.
Why is this? Okay, he's got to have 3 runs over hurdles to get into the top, Betfair hurdles, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Why is this only rated 129?
Because that's what he's done over hurdles.
But that is a lick your lips type mark.
Well,
isn't it?
it's a lick type mark, but it's what he's done.
Why don't they just go and run under a double penalty and then wait?
If you've got time to go and watch the Weatherby race, he's actually pushed right out a bit 40-1 outsider called Captain Biggles. Right? He has earned no more than his mark of 129. Right, let's go down. Let's go down to betting. Fidelio Vallis, 138. He'd be giving £9.
Yeah.
Jungle Junction under 36 would be giving 7.
For
Court and
Pleasure.
Bold 141 would be giving 12. For Pleasure 144 we'll be giving 15. And this is an odds-on shot, and he's an odds-on shot purely because he won he ran fourth in the champion bumper. The form he showed, he had to be pushed out, like I said, to beat a horse called Captain Biggles. Fidelio Vallis, last time out, got beat 11 3/4 by Mrs. Hyde, giving her £7. She's just come out and beaten Verdana Blue. That sort of form is on a completely different level to what Third Time Lucky has done. Now, don't get me wrong, I fully expect Third Time Lucky to end up better. But he didn't look miles better than that run at Wetherby. He had something in hand.
The cynic in me kills. When I try and look at horses like this, and I'm thinking, he looks like he's rushed him a little bit Third Time Lucky. If you think he's going to end up in like a supreme novice hurdle, why give him 3? Because if you look, okay, he made his debut at Uttoxeter Friday, October the 16th. He then took him to Wetherby on the, 15 days later. And here he is 16 days later. This is a horse they're campaigning to get a mark in my eyes.
Well, he's got a mark though, hasn't he?
But he's got to get one more run over hurdles before we can go in the big time, hasn't he?
Right, so you're thinking he might be going in Betfair Hurdle.
I am.
There's plenty of time for that,
County
though,
Hurdle, I'm thinking.
There's loads of time for that.
Yeah, but
There is.
Yeah,
but my point, Bruce, is they can give him a break and then he can go. They can do a superb story with this chap as well.
Yeah, but he can, like you said, Bruce said, there is plenty of time for him to do that. And also, he's going to smash his mark if he beats horses that are rated much higher than him. So,
just the mark for me is interesting that he's been given the mark. You do need 3 runs over hurdles these days to get into the grade A.
I think people tend to look at a string of ones and they like seeing horses win half on the bridle, and everyone thinks, oh, this is a good thing and all that. But what he's done.
I'm just going on his bumper form.
Yeah, exactly.
Invested a lot of them on his bumper form. He put these in his back, carried them.
Everybody is, yes, but on his hurdles form, he's not even a 6-1 chance.
Yeah, but do you not think it's a bit misleading the ratings for novice hurdlers like this? There can be stones of improvement.
They could be, yeah. But I saw that race at Wetherby, and I just didn't think he had masses and masses in hand.
He's a very topical horse.
He had to get pushed right out to go clear, and okay, he's eased up in the final 20, 30 yards or whatever. But he's beaten a 40 to 1 shot with no form. That form is nowhere near good as good as
I hear Bruce.
Virtually every other runner in this race.
Let's get out of this bet.
No. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Listen, you're the man so far. But listen, it's going to go one way or the other. But I did think it was fascinating. He looks like he's hardening up all the time, is he, Barry?
Out of the profit as well, Bruce. We'll have it on whatever Kealy fancies in the last. Give it a good gallop.
What does Paul Kealy fancy?
Well, I think Fidelio Vallis is the one that is going to relish the ground. So I would go with him.
Yeah, it wasn't obviously a bad run at all, was it? Was the odds on to beat Mrs. Hyde? I seem to remember. Let me have a look. He was 13.
Yeah, he'd won his previous 2.
For Pleasure was favourite in that race, wasn't it?
Yeah, he'd won his previous 2. It was a good race. It was a listed hurdle that kept on quick ground, but obviously he's beaten Nicky Henderson's Fugitive's Drift the time before in March.
That's good form.
One soft ground. Well, yeah, it's solid form. He is a solid high 130s horse. Who's only 5. He has better hurdles form, considerably better hurdles form in my view than the Fav.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit of an experiment coming here, isn't it? Because they've kept him to flat tracks so far.
Well, yeah.
Wincantons.
Yeah, but I mean, Paul Nicholls runs loads of his horses at Wincanton, doesn't he? So, that doesn't bother me.
Kempton as well. But yeah,
he hasn't had a great weekend, has he? Bar Magic Saint, I don't think they've had a winner, and Harry Cobden hasn't ridden a winner because Carver rode, Brian Carver rode Magic Saint.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure they'd love to get on the board.
You're sitting quietly, Bruce.
Yeah, only because I looked at this race and I thought, well, I've got to oppose Third Time Lucky for a lot of the reasons that Kill says. There's nothing on ratings, RPRs, etc., that makes you think, well, this is good. But I think I made the mistake of thinking that this is always a really good race. I mean, if you look in the past, Altior's won this, Q Card's won this. It tends to be only good horses need apply. But I don't think this is much of a race, and I just think that in actual fact, I'm struggling to find something on the outright to beat him. So I've kind of gone with him by default. But with the ground as it is, I've put up I've actually placed Laid Court and Bold. I just think that there has to be a good ground horse. O'Brien says in his quotes that he really didn't like the way that the rain was coming in. And so I just thought I could lay that to be placed and hopefully nick a few quid out.
He got turnover at 2 to 5 when he was last encountering soft ground. Both Third Time Lucky and Court and Bold graduates from Charlie Post's farm. So this will be a big race for Posty et al.
Who are you going for?
Well, I put up the Fav because I really struggle. I'm not a big Fidelio Vallis fan, and I just thought I was a bit more positive about the Weatherby run in Keels, and we just sort of finished there on the screen. I thought he had loads in hand, and he was. But if he comes second in this race and then goes missing until festival time, and he turns up with a 1-1-2 next to his name, having been fourth in Champion November, I guarantee he's a gamble for the
County Hurdle. Yeah, it could be interesting.
It's fascinating stuff, basically.
Robbie, I'm sorry, Robbie.
He won the County Hurdle with Superb Story, who didn't run after this meeting.
That's right. That is exactly right.
Barry, what do you make of Jungle Junction?
If Jungle Junction can get his jumping together, it could win. It's got the talent, it's got bags of ability, but the jumping can be just so sketchy sometimes. It's jumping.
The market
even
likes
when he
him.
won. Even when he won his maiden hurdle in Navan, he jumped bad that day, and his main market rival fell 3 out. There could have been a different result that day. I don't know what way he jumped last day in Navan. He went sideways, an unseeded rider. But if they can get him into a nice rhythm, he's a big, big life.
Dave, can I just get a couple of bits off my chest? We've got a couple of minutes before the start. First, I can't have debates about how you pronounce Schlur. It's just Schlur. It's quite easy. There's much harder
Schlur,
words it's just much harder things to pronounce than that. The second thing, though, is going back to
Who was questioning it?
loads of people have all week. I've how do you pronounce this?
Keith Melrose said it yesterday on the show.
It drives me mad. But more importantly, going back to the last race last night with the photo finish.
Yeah.
Yes, it is unsatisfactory because obviously when you look at the print, it looks like the sort of thing you used to get when your wife was having a scan before the kids. I mean, it's or the Turin shroud or something. Right? It's not good enough. But I do think racecourses at this time of year play chicken with the last race time because all right, it was unusually dark last night, but you often see races the last race, and that's why they have bumpers. But they're too dark. It's too dark. And they've got a 4:05 today. If the clouds come in today like they did last night, they'll barely be able to see. I just don't know why they have to run them so late. So I don't particularly think last night's thing was the biggest drama of all time. I mean, the fact that it's a dead heat, most people make money if you're a punter. So you haven't done your brains there. But
pressure from television companies to keep these.
No, because they went off air, didn't they? They accepted that.
But the premium races had to be a certain time, you'd imagine, for ITV. We want this.
Well, don't forget the Paddy Power was 2:15.
It was quite early, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was early.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always one of the earlier races on the card.
I can understand punters who backed the.
I think they do that in cases of low sun, don't they? I think
they do.
Because of a low
but
sun.
punters who backed the Fry thing would have been aggrieved because it looked like she'd won.
Absolutely.
But you still couldn't be absolutely 100% certain. I just think it's one of those things.
I think the playing chicken is a
interesting to find out whether they'll contest it.
Yeah. And we might well see something changing there because it's unsatisfactory, that, isn't it? I'm surprised that apparently there is a debrief between all the judges and the stripes and the stewards later in the week. So expect about Thursday for that to come back and rear its ugly head, I would imagine.
But this is the other problem with racecourses. They're not even walked out on the course yet, and it's it's 2 minutes past post time already, and this is a problem. They just don't get on with it.
Yeah.
No, they don't. They should just say, right, this race starts at 3:35. If you're down at the front and you've got a jockey in the saddle, you can take part, and if not, tough luck.
Yeah, okay. So we're a bit marmitey about the favourite. Me and Barry like him. Bruce and
I sort
Kills
of like
opposing.
him. No, I'm actually not Marmite. I just sort of think he's all right, He's 2:02 now, Barry. He's not particularly popular.
Yeah, I see that, yeah. That's his price. It's probably a better reflection. Well, we backed him at 10-9 on. He's an even money chance now. Some money for Fadilo Vades was into 5.8 there for a second. Jungle Junction is steady enough. There hasn't really been that much for him. He's 7.8. And 11-2 Colton Bold. If anything, he's probably the one there's a few quid coming for now.
And they're coming into line, and Harry Bannister and For Pleasure get a nice, easy 4 lengths at the start because it's yet another race where after 50 yards, there's 10 lengths between first and last. Jungle Junction is very, very fresh. He's jumping the first in last place. Has anything twitched your antennae, Kills?
Not really. I think he might be going a bit too fast in front, though.
God, blimey, yeah. It's
he pulled like stink at Kempton, didn't he?
He's gone
he's
hard
miles clear. They're jumping he's about to jump the second. He's got to be 20 lengths clear. Incredible scenes. So but having said that, the market has taken a bit of a shine to that. It's 13, just on the basis that it might have a really easy lead.
Well, he might have got. He might have got a really easy lead, but
he's doing way too much.
He's that's running away. He tried to fly that hurdle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dave, what's your view on this so far?
I think this will fall in a hole on the far side. It's almost reminiscent of You Can Have Her, isn't it? With Harry Cobden in the bumper yesterday, the Mayor's bumper. The pack are largely ignoring it. It means the rest of them should settle okay.
Yeah, it's still shortened. Yeah, it's still a bit shorter than it was.
You'd prefer to be a layered in the backer, Paul, wouldn't you? At 12.5?
Yeah, personally I would, yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I guess it does make you wobble. If you're a jockey at this point, we were saying to Matty Batch when something went clear, I was like, what do you do, Matt? Are you saying to each other, I can't go now, I'm going to burn out? It's just judgment based. You just have to have that natural feel.
Long way clear though, 15, 20 lengths and still 12.5. Jumped the third perfectly okay.
This is actually going to be knackered a long way out.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Jungle Junction made a mistake there.
Yeah, Jungle Junction didn't jump that well and is well behind the other four. So, as they approach the halfway, they just come up to the fourth of the 8 flights. For Pleasure and Harry Bannister, a good 15, 20 lengths clear of the rest. In second is Court and Bold with Paddy Brennan. Fidelio Vallis and Harry Cobden are just behind that one. And then we've got Third Time Lucky. We've got Les Sankan, the rank outsider, and Jungle Junction is at the back of the field as they jump the fourth. It's a decent jump by For Pleasure. The lead is still 15 lengths. The jockeys in behind aren't particularly fussed, and the market has still got the Hare as 13.
Paddy giving a bit of push in there, Bruce, on your place day of Court and Bold. He's gone on right hard against the fence as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, Court and Bold's gone out to 32 actually, Dave. So I think the market's had a look at that and thought they don't fancy it. Fav 1.92, Barry, not really doing a lot.
No, they're just all in behind there. I suppose Fidelio Vallis and Third Time Lucky are the two that I've drawn my eye at the moment. I think the Les Sanka and Jungle Junction as jump 4, but they're still to get to the one in front. But I can't see him. I can see him tying up badly by the time they get to the last turn.
He's fiddled 1 or 2, the favourite to my eyes. I think.
He went for two hurdles ago. He went through one. Didn't really check his momentum or anything, though.
But they're coming down the hill already, and 11 now For Pleasure, because he's still got a really, really good lead. Fidelio Vallis is probably going best to those in behind, although Third Time Lucky's all right as well. Ooh. He's jumped it still a long, long way clear, hasn't he? He's miles clear. 7.4 now For Pleasure. Yeah. Has he got enough in the tank to repel them? It looks like Court and Bold is using up a lot of energy to get there. But the other three are going absolutely fine. 10 For Pleasure as they jump the second last.
Come on,
For Pleasure, he's veering around into it. No, he's surely cooked now, isn't he? He's absolutely.
They haven't moved the other jockeys. Skelton
He's still got 8 lengths lead as they turn in, but surely that will get it.
Skelton has to go after.
He's now getting after him. Fidelio Vallis is falling in the hole.
He's only 5.5 For Pleasure.
This is going to be a hell of a finish.
Here comes Third Time Lucky. 1.13 Third Time Lucky.
7-1 on.
Will the Hare or the Tortoise prevail? Third Time Lucky is trying to catch For Pleasure, but For Pleasure's only 3.4 as he jumps the last 2 length lead.
I tell you what,
it's still For Pleasure. Here comes Third Time Lucky. For Pleasure and Harry Bannister. Has he nicked this?
He's got it.
Has he nicked it? He has indeed. This is incredible.
Yeah, he's got it.
There's going to be a lot of punters absolutely furious. Yes, we did. We won 21 quid, but we're one of very few punters who won on the favourite. For Pleasure wins the race by 5 lengths from Third Time Lucky. Miles back to Jungle Junction in third.
Bit annoying, really, but there you go. Highest rated horse in race wins.
Yes, which is exactly what you said. Why?
At 14-1.
He just pulled so hard at Kempton and didn't find a great deal. So this time they've gone, we can do nothing about
let him do it.
Off we go. But you said punters are going to be furious, Bruce, before we go to Barry in the market. What do you do if you're that far back and you're Harry Skelton?
I'll tell you what, if I was a punter who'd lost money on that race, well, I am, but I don't mind too much. But my point is, why give him that easy lead at the start? You know, he jumped off 4 lengths clear, he's nicked an easy lead, and then he's
Do you think you should have asked the horse a bit earlier in the race?
I just think they need to start closer together. You can't get caught sleeping and because that amount that he's won by is the amount he's nicked at the start, isn't it? I don't know. I love races like that for a kind of drama. You know, they're not like your run-of-the-mill races, are they? But they do leave.
I think he's given them a good ride, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, of course
he's
given him a brilliant ride.
He's not taken anything... the favourite has not taken anything out of him in the last 50, 60 yards.
No, he's run down the hurdles as well, hasn't he? The last 3 he was jumping.
Going into second last, he looked absolutely legless,
and you thought that was it. And I mean, a lot of the time around Cheltenham, they do fall in there. What was the market saying then?
I'm sure the favourite would have liked to have Fidelio Vallis drawn maybe a little bit closer to the one in front that time, but he fell into a heap as well. So the favourite had to do his own donkey work to try to catch him. But the winner hit a high of 38 in running at one stage. Hard to see when. He's at BSP is 17, but he hit a high at 38 at one stage in running. Third time lucky, hit a low of 1.11, would you believe? So 9-1 on third time lucky. We put into laying back in running to get our stake back at
well done, Barry.
1-2, and we got matched. So we've had a good day for the IJF.
You certainly have, Barry. Absolutely worth every penny from the big hitter from Betfair. We're watching the start there. He's ridden him into the start, hasn't he? Harry Bannister.
Look how far back.
He's actually lit him up.
Look how far back Skelton is on the favourite. And that's just, you don't just get those distances back.
Yeah.
You cannot just concede that.
I bet you he had the bumper in mind yesterday when he sat right back on AA Bell or whatever it's called, Estee Bell or whatever it's called. The thing that dead heated, because he sighed through the pack that day and picked up a front runner.
But Dave, as McCoy always says, even if you want to sit out the back, jump off with them and then as you're running, then gradually go back. Don't just sit there and give 5-6 lengths.
Yeah, and you also, you're giving that sort of distance to. Doesn't matter what the market says. You're giving that sort of distance to the horse that's officially the best horse in the race.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it's a lot to give away.
Yeah, absolutely. So so now let's just talk about third time lucky and not the conspiracy, the plan that I was suggesting might happen if he came second. A lot of people will be thinking wherever he runs next, because he's the only one that's got anywhere near it, isn't he? Fourth in the champion bumper.
He's beat the rest by a distance.
Yeah, he's going to go up to a mark of what, 135 at worst, I would imagine.
At the very worst, I'd have said, yeah.
Yeah. So this, you are looking at potential low weight in a county hurdle, aren't you?
Yeah, and he's obviously got potential.
That was his third one in fairly quick succession as well, which is worrying me.
I mean, you could
as he
easily
was getting up the hill.
You could easily see him get put away.
Yeah,
I could see him go for that Betfair Exchange hurl in Ascot before Christmas. You know, that last Saturday before Christmas. It's a very valuable 2-mile handicap.
It is. It's a cracking meeting, that.
They've won it before the Skeltons, and not with a novice now, mind, but it'd be interesting to see. And potentially, they could still go down. They could still win a Betfair hurl in Newbury and go down to Supreme Hurl route. We've seen that many times in the last couple of years.
And you have to think that would probably suit him. Willow's Saviour was the horse they did it with a couple of years ago, and it was the one that really put Dan on the radar. I just think that they will be thinking about superb story. You might find out, of course, if we get some quotes from Dan about the beaten horses, and just see what Harry Bannister says about the winner as well. You can see that in the members club. So that wraps us up, guys. It's been a hell of a day, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been 3 really interesting days. I can't think that I'm coming out of this absolutely brimming with horses to back for Cheltenham. I might be wrong, and there might be some.
Who's on the periphery of your thoughts then?
Well, certainly put the kettle on. I mean, I'm staying loyal to her. I think that was a really, really good run, and I think that the market's still not really giving her the respect.
Comes the Wednesday at Cheltenham, you're going to have the silks on, all right? That's absolutely right. We'll get you in the silks. I can see you're up for that as well. Keels, you'll be wearing a golf shirt, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, back to the golf shirts. These long sleeve things. They didn't bring me any luck, did they? No, it was a strange day today.
Have you seen a Cheltenham hurdle?
Those are not runners.
Cheltenham Festival run.
You know, I like put the kettle on. I thought she's tough, she's game. She's won 6 out of 7 over fences now.
Not the big breakaway.
I was underwhelmed. I must admit, I was.
It'd be
underwhelmed.
great if they went Mare's Chase. We put the kettle
just to really rub it in. 6 is on.
God, yeah. I'll talk about the Mare's Chase. Just got in the way of the best handicap race there is there.
We want to get back for the Masters.
Yeah. So no, I don't think I've seen anything else. Maybe third time lucky in a handicap. That could be a good point. He has beaten the rest by a long way. And he's beaten at odds on, but he's actually showed pretty big improvement on.
It's one of those where you start looking at when the entries come out. When is it, February or whatever? And you, just for the weights, you're like, what is this going to be getting? That sort of thing. But he's very interesting. I don't know, big breakaway. What about Does He Know on the Friday? What did you make of him, Barry? Does He Know, the Kim Bailey novice hurdle winner of the Old Ballymore?
Yeah, he looked smart, didn't he? I think the novice division is wide open, though. I wouldn't have a strong opinion in that at the moment. I thought the one I'd take out of it was the 3-year-old winner yesterday of Gordon Elliott's Duffel Coat. but he looked dour stayer now.
Lovely attitude,
You
that
know.
was.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, real good
what are you
attitude,
thinking, 2024 cross-country chase?
He did. It was all
He has
Nationals.
won a Triumph Hurdle with a horse that won several cross-country
Exactly,
chases,
yes.
2 Grand Nationals.
Exactly.
Yes.
This thing is,
it's not out of the realms of
This thing is
possibility.
pace. I
What
mean,
about
when it comes to the Triumph,
Protectorate? He was good, wasn't he?
He was.
Protectorate is good.
Protectorate, that's all.
Protectorate is good, yeah. Dan Skelton, I mean, obviously he comes from Paul Nicholls, and when they get these horses, some of the horses they get, they jump so supremely well.
Yeah.
And he's got Protectorate, and he's got
Sham
Blue, who I don't know whether he will go on undulating tracks, but his 2 runs at Weatherby, absolutely sensational. Never missed a twig. Has already borderline 160 horse, I'd say.
That stay in Chasers division is probably the division of the year without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, like stay in novice chasers, you give those 2 horses at Dan Skelton's, and I mentioned them earlier. Pencil Full of Lead here in Ireland that won today and looks a really, really smart prospect. And also you have the big breakaway that won today in Cheltenham. So yeah, that's shaping up to be a cracking division because they're all going to want to go for the 3 miles. Who's going to want to take on Envoy Allen over the 2.5 miles?
Yeah, exactly.
It's debatable, but
yeah,
I can see the RSA being a cracker.
We've got no fans, have we? But the winter is in safe hands. I think the viewing's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and also let's not get too down. Let's hope that things do clear up and that there are some people, even if Cheltenham isn't the usual kind of seething bear pit it normally is, let's hope some jumps fans can get along and enjoy it because this sport's too good to go without fans, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the jumps and doing this show, it's a real treat, isn't it? So it's been a real treat to have you in, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you next Saturday.
You will
for the Betfair.
chase.
You're
not sure yet. It's a late fitness test.
You're about tips on, aren't you? I think in a minute we'll try and persuade him. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you, Barry. We're going to get you on the phone, Barry, because you'll be at Haydock next Saturday.
Look forward to it, lads. Thanks for a great day. Really enjoyed it, and we got a few quid. I think we won about £500 for the injured jockey.
Fantastic!
So,
brilliant effort. And Barry, will you be allowed straight back to Ireland, or do you have to quarantine?
I'll come back to Ireland and I'll be quarantining. Yeah.
You're not counted as an elite sportsman, no?
Not with this belly, Bruce, no.
I don't know. Slick as ever, Barry Orr. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching then. That's all we've got time for here on Racing Post Live. What a weekend it's been. We'll see you next Saturday.